Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching in the world. Welcome along to Creator Series powered by EA Sports. We head from the Iron Curtain of the Hungaroring to a circuit that is well known by a lot of people and can cause a little bit of trouble in terms of track limits. It is, of course, the Canadian Grand Prix, and we expect some fabulous action. Last season, we saw the Rainbow Tire Challenger over there. We're not going to see it tonight, but we are going to see some great racing. My name is Jess Ball, and I'm going to be your presenter for this evening's proceedings. But I'm not alone, because otherwise I will lose my voice after 2 and a bit hours. But joining me, first of all, in Clipbook Corner, it is, of course, Mr. Josh Richards. Josh, how are you doing? Are you looking forward to some Canadian action?
Yeah, it should be a very exciting one. Canada is always a track where we do see quite a lot of action. 2 back-to-back DRS straights and 3 in total across the track. Naturally, you're going to get quite a lot of close racing, and I think it's something we're going to be looking forward to tonight.
Exactly. We saw last season as well, the weather playing absolute havoc, drivers having to come into the pits very late as well. Canada is always known for bringing the worst in some of the weather conditions as well, so we'll see if that happens tonight. But let's talk about last week, Josh, in terms of the results. Lonnie Noba picked up his first win of the season, which puts him at the top of the championship. A very close battle between himself and Kareem 70. Lonnie Noba just seems to be very consistent this season, which is helping him be on top of the standings.
Yeah, I think it's something we've seen from Lolly quite often. He's been able to get himself right up there in the mix, and just being able to pull through in the last time out, picking up that win. It was really, really strong pace from him. But yeah, close battles up and down the field as well. I think it was, despite being Hungary, still not the worst of races we've ever seen.
Yeah, I was quite surprised, actually. There was lots of action. There was lots of safety cars. We know that Alex Gillen got in the wars, but he managed to get himself back up into 9th place, which is not too shabby for him. That guy Vince, Josh, got his first pole in quite a while, which I think we saw his reaction on socials. It was a really nice moment. Unfortunately, didn't convert to a win, but still a very good podium from himself in equal performance, Josh.
Yeah, he's been picking up a couple podiums here and there. Definitely looking like a strong contender to try and challenge for maybe the top 5, top 6 in the standings. He's definitely been improving over these past few seasons, and finally picking up that pole position, really showing where the pace is going.
Yes, indeed. And how does that reflect the standings then going into tonight? Of course, I mentioned Lonnie Noba picked up the race win and is leading 62 points over Razin Chai, 48 points joint with Team Marduk as well. Razin Chai picking up 2 podiums this season. Didn't quite get a podium last time out, but is looking to redeem himself this week. Kareem 70, after his great performance in the last few weeks, is in 4th position. Lonnie Noba's teammate Ricky O'Free on 42 points, Emphatic on 36, and we got that guy Vince on 34, Saf08 on 23, Grid Jokes with 21, and Concept 7 in the Williams. Strong performance from him this season in the top 10. GB68, one of our reserves this season, is in the top 11 on 18 points. We've got Adam Sanderson, Matt 212, Ryan L83, Alex Gillen, but we know he's got to climb his way up through the rest of the season. We've got Tukey, Scotty Designs, by the way, Europe Van Geffen, Chappers, and Super Noodle Bagel rounding out your top 20. And we have a few changes tonight. No Europe tonight. We got Mr. Tom 97 going to be in his car, and we also got a new reserve, which we'll go through in a minute. We'll look at the constructors though, Josh. Ferrari leading the way, as they have been for pretty much most of the season. Both drivers doing an outstanding job.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it from the very first race of the season. Both the Ferraris, Lolly and Ricky, the Italian duo, looking very, very strong this season. And yeah, that 33-point lead in the constructor standings, really reflecting that. Quite close though, if you look further behind. Racing Bulls on 71, Red Bull 63, Aston Martin 51, Mercedes 47, McLaren 43, Alpine 36, Williams and Sauber both on 21 points. Then Haas with 5 points to their name so far. But that midfield fight is looking extremely close. I think something that we're going to have to keep an eye on throughout this season.
Yeah, the midfield battles, I have to say, were the best to watch over the last few races, and it's going to get quite close in the standings. Luckily, us two are not alone in the broadcast team this season. We've got two lovely people that's going to take you through all the action tonight for this week's 100% race around Canada. So let's introduce them, shall we? We got Mr. Tom Wilkinson and Mr. Jake Sperry. Hello, boys. How are you doing? Starting off with you, Jake. Canada, it's going to be a recipe of chaos and maybe some great action.
Well, you got to remember that Canada is a street circuit, and so the margins are finer. You've got the ability to go out there and say, right, I've got to be absolutely tightrope perfect for 70 laps. It's got two very strong overtaking zones into the final chicane and over to the center chicane, turns 2 and 3 out on circuit. But you do understand that this place is also about timing and positioning, because not every single corner out there on this track is an overtaking opportunity. So these drivers, when they go out there, when they race around a track like this, they know margins are going to be very difficult to get correct. So you've just got to make sure that you stand your ground, you find every opportunity to get your pace in and work the strategy to your advantage. Qualifying today might be the most telling fact of all.
Yes, I agree with that one. Alex played the strategy absolutely right, Tom, last season for taking a win, even though it was a Rainbow Tire Challenge. And it's one of those tracks also where the undercut could be quite powerful. Will we see some interesting strategies at play comparing the lower pit loss compared to most of the other circuits on the Creator Series calendar?
I think the first thing is we are more likely to see safety cars. Didn't have one a couple of weeks ago in Spa. We only had one last week in Hungary. The walls are much closer. Much more opportunity for a bit of carnage to unfold, as we've seen around Canada in the history of the Creator Series. So I think strategy could be a bit of a mishmash, to be honest, with the safety cars, the virtual safety cars we'll see as well. Short pit lane as well, so there's a little bit of an advantage to be taken there as well. So lots of different variables that we need to take into account, which is why should be a bit of a thriller.
Yes, it should be a thriller. Qualifying should be going underway in just a few moments, but bringing back to you, Jake, on this one. Razin Chai didn't have the best of results last time out. Got a few podiums in the first few races. Razin needs to pick himself up, really, if he wants to close up to a resurgence of Loninoba.
I think what you got to remember in the first 3 rounds of this championship, Loninoba hasn't been all conquering. Yes, he's got a 14-point gap at the top of the championship, but if you look down the list right now, you see that Razin Chai's only got 2 points to his name from the last round. You look around and see that Karim 70 also has a win and a second to his name with a DNF in the season opener. This is not as cut and dry as the points will tell you that this is Loninoba's game and he's gallivanting away with it. I think that consistency will play a huge role in the course of this season. Getting an early advantage is okay, but there was a certain Ferrari man about, I don't know, 3-4 years ago called Charles Leclerc who got himself a big round lead after 3 rounds and then ended up being absolutely nowhere in the championship. So I look around at Loninoba and I say, he's not safe yet. Talk to me again about the championship when you get to round 6, round 7, he's got still a 14-point lead.
Yeah, I think since we've got quite a lot of races to go in the championship, I think he can't become complacent. But before we head to qualifying, let's get our final predictions of who we think is going to get pole. Josh, starting with you.
I am going to go with Mr. Razin Chai. He tends to do quite well, I think, at some of the street tracks. So it'll be interesting how he gets on here tonight.
Nice choice. Tom, what about you?
If he doesn't start from the back, because there's a possibility he might, Tom 97, I think he's favoured not just for pole, but for the race win. Only drive with multiple wins at this circuit in the Creator Series, so he's coming back, maybe with a bit of vengeance as well.
And Jake, finally, down to you. Who's your pole pick?
Mr. 16 points out of every race so far, Tiamat Marduk.
There you go. So those are your predictions for qualifying. Who do you think is going to get pole? We'll find out in about 18 minutes. Let's bring you over to our commentators, take you through qualifying, Tom Wilkinson and Jake Sperry.
Thanks, Jess. And qualifying about to bring itself into full fruition. Just the 18 minutes then to sort yourself a pole and get yourself times that are necessary. And also to score an extra point or two, Tom, because the intermediates are going to be playing their factor out there. And you've got to make sure that you're out there within a good, quick amount of time in what look like evening conditions out there here today. So get that time in, get a freebie of a point, and then go focus on pole.
100%. If you are new to the Creator Series, first of all, where have you been all of this time, everybody? But the fastest driver on intermediate tyres, inside the first 6 minutes of qualifying, you have to complete that lap by the time the clock ticks down to 12 minutes remaining. You will get an extra championship point, and we've had 3 different intermediate pole sitters in the first 3 rounds. Lolanoba, championship leader, took it in Saudi Arabia. Then it was handed to Kareem 17, and last week it was Razin Chai. So we could be going 4 for 4, because there are some drivers that are traditionally right at the sharp end of that battle, but don't necessarily quite get over the line in it.
Yes, so you've seen so far that it's been every championship contender, strong championship contender that's had a win, has also had, at some point, an intermediate pole out there. Ryan L83 started the season with a DNF, but if he has scored points in every round afterwards, which is correct. He scored 5 and 4 points as we focus with him out there, who used to be then in the position of a really quick iRacer out there who was really fast. He was part of the Radicals Online team. Look at how he's having to scrap, though, on that intermediate through the center chicane there, through turn 2 and 3, and now up towards 4 and 5. And you're really having to work down the hill to get it working, and immediately an invalidation of the lap. So disaster immediate to get it going. Safso, though, everyone's favorite Hagrid, going to make a very strong ability to try and get that first time on the board. You could say a gentle Giants lap coming up.
100%. Usually the first man out there on the intermediate, so he'll be slightly surprised and perturbed that Ryan managed to beat him out of the pits. A little bit messy through the chicane, but able to carry as much speed as he possibly could is so difficult, especially with the understeer, the oversteer combined. It's like the 2014 Ferrari, isn't it? Armful of opposite lock, and then you're trying to unload a boat full of understeer through these low-speed corners on these intermediate tyres.
Yep, so now making the charge along the casino straight here, named after the fact that there is a casino in the infield on the right-hand side as we sit on the St. Lawrence River that was used for the rowing back in the Montreal Olympics, and that is invalidated through the final chicane, so even Safsho can't find a way through what are very tough track limits out there today. So keep that in mind as drivers go for not only an intermediate lap, but a full lap out there to get it sorted. This might be the scenario right now here, T-Dub, where it's just whoever's out there and trundles around on a 125, for example, gets the intermediate pole.
100%. Tim Mollett's just gone quickest in the first sector by a tenth. Lolanoba was tracking pretty nicely, but lost a little bit of time to Kareem 17 in the first sector. There goes Razin China 12.8, but I think the Aston Martin should eclipse him, barring any whoopsies. No, poor final sector that for Kareem. Lost 4 tenths to Razin. That is the technical aspect of this circuit. You can give away so much time with very minor mistakes. It is now Vince taking over at the top, but watch out for our former 2-time champ.
Yeah, that guy Vince is the perfect epitome of a driver who wins it or bins it, so keep an eye on him. He can be lightning fast, and being the quickest at the moment on the intermediate is very telling. It will be shredding that intermediate tyre because it is out there on a dry circuit, so second laps are going to be a lot tougher to go and get correct, but you also have to worry about how much groove is going to work. Matt 212. No, you're not going to win the intermediate pole on a soft tyre right now. A 13.8 for average at best rate. Yeah, that's a 110.9, Matt. Yeah, congratulations. But the issue you're going to run into is that you've got the fast time at the moment, but there's still a minute and a half for intermediates to look at. But it's not the end of the world to set your fast time in the middle of the intermediate runners. You've just got a track that's slightly less rubbered in than it would do otherwise.
And this is an interesting one as well, because it is such a short circuit. There is a chance for drivers to have a couple of stabs at getting the intermediate pole time. The only problem is, because these tyres are not suited to the track conditions, they are going to be melting those front tyres, the rear tyres in particular, through the tricky traction zones. It leaves Dak Govins in a very solid position. First ever pole position in the Creator Series 7 days ago. Could be picking up his first intermediate pole, although I think Alex Gill will have something to say about it. Slots into P7 overall, though. Slower than Kareem, Lolly, Tim Mudd, Razin, and of course Vince.
Well, you got to remember as well here, T-Dub, that he'll probably like his actual name to be used here. He's apparently accrued the title of Lord.
He has, Lord Gillen. Technically, it does count in the Creator Series aspect. One of 3 drivers to pick up multiple championships. Does have also the best win percentage in the Creator Series. Tom 97 is pretty close, but Gillen's competed about twice as many races as there already. We have the customary Safso disconnection earlier than usual, actually, towards the start of qualifying. Normally, it comes within the first 5 laps of the race.
Well, the fact that it's happened early is going to give a lot of help because it shouldn't happen later on. Tom 97 then looking to push over the line, and that one not counting then, so gearing it up. Nobody expects a Spanish Inquisition from Tom 97, but we're expecting something good. Oh, now Scotty Designs has been disqualified from qualifying for being parked in a dangerous direction. I would say being backwards on the pit entry is dangerous.
It is a little bit, and he's clearly taken somebody with him. Bit of front wing scattered across the runoff area there, but he will be assuming his favoured position on the grid of P20. Started last in Saudi Arabia, Spa, Hungary, and will do the same here in Montreal.
By the looks of things, it's that guy Vince who will end up taking the result of the pole position for intermediates there. And he says, go watch the Creator Series Royal Rumble when it goes live tomorrow on Creator Series Social. So do get your chance to jump in and see that. So it'll be out there on the likes of the look around as you keep on going. Matt 2-on-2 going quicker still on a 1:10.1, now a full 2.6 seconds faster than anybody else. Currently a Mercedes 1-2.
I'd expect that will be on the same set of tyres. Didn't find an improvement in the final sector. Matched his first set, but did take a decent chunk out of the middle. Good first sector for Concept 7, but lost a decent amount in the middle, and that is why he's 2.2 seconds down on Matt 2-on-2.
Yeah, it's a little bit adrift at the moment from Concept 7. So obviously the first 6 concepts haven't worked, and you might need to go to Concept 8 if he wants to go and get there, or if you want to use guitar spec here, T-Dub, as a 5-place grid penalty for Adam Sanderson for contact with Safsho, which is going to be huge then in terms of that. So Adam's going to be in a world of hurt. But if you want to use guitar logic, he's maybe got to go all the way to Concept 11.
Potentially, although he has been very impressive this season as Gridjokes bangs in a 109.8, first driver to dip below the 70-second mark. Does have a couple of pole positions so far in his Creator Series career, but yet to stand on the podium. And has been pretty so-so this season, consistently finding himself in the lower reaches of the top 10, maybe just waiting to take that next step towards some of the big guns pace-wise.
Those big guns will be hoping that they are getting the best time available to them. Yellow's out in sectors 1 and 3 currently, with drivers finishing laps, drivers starting laps, and currently that Kick Sauber of Gridjokes in control. Now invalidated through the final corner. Concept 7's not going to have much love with that, and still we have got 9 drivers yet to take a time and 1 disqualified. That is a creative line from Infratic, who last time I saw him racing here, Tom, he was busy doing donuts trying to retire from the race.
He was desperate to try and get out there early, pleading for the game to disqualify him, for his tyres to blow up as well, and take a bit of a bumpy ride there through turns 5, 6 and 7. Here is your championship leader. Going to get a bit of a distant tow from the Kick Sauber in front as we head into the final chicane. The infamous Wall of Champions. Will anybody find themselves having a bit of a date with destiny with that little wall at the outside? But here comes the Italian Stallion, smashes the benchmark by to the tune of 1.1 seconds, almost into the 108s we go. Once again, a state mark put down by the Scarlet Ferrari.
Chappers then going up to second on a 109.6, so that puts the Williams up into second position. But Lolinoba says, look, I could be just an inch and Mondo Duplantis it and just say I'm going to jump a little bit. But Lolinoba's the sort of driver who I think, just looking at him over at the Williams fan event, T-Dub, he's someone who doesn't do anything by halves. He does everything by holes.
He full throttles absolutely everything, doesn't he? As Adam Sanderson's going to try and do through the final chicane. Former 2-time champ Tim McMardock gets close to the Ferrari, just a couple of tenths down. The second Red Bull makes it a 2.4 as he goes into the 109.5, just behind Safso there.
Yeah, of course, Adam Sanderson, the 5 grid place penalty, so he's going to be, instead of a 2.4, a 2.9 out there at this stage, and he'll be looking at the other drivers who will have to overtake out there. Now, Ricky 03 has actually been doing a really good job this season, has had a 3rd place to start off the championship running, but then that is followed with a 5th place and I believe an 8th place out there. So it's been a case of running in and around that top 10, consistent points. But Ricky, who is in full Scuderia red today, making that push towards the final chicane and thinking, can I get myself near my teammate? It would be huge if he could jump himself up inside the top 5. A little shake of the head says not happy with it, but you should be. It's a 109.2, your 3rd place, Ricky.
He's come on leaps and bounds, Ricky. We didn't see this too much in the previous season when we had realistic performance. We've gone back to equal cars, and Ricky's just got stronger and stronger. Looks like a real threat towards the sharp end. Here comes Alex Gillen through the final chicane. Lolly's still fastest on the 8.8. Here, Mark on an 8.9. Will Alex Gillen get close to them as he cuts the beam? He goes faster by nearly a tenth of a second. 1:08.7 for Alex Gillen. If you've seen his stream title, this is one of his strongest tracks on the game. And Lord Gillen looking to try and make a mark here after a difficult first race for him of the season last week in Hungary, albeit very much enjoying it.
Yeah, he's very happy. He showed off his new air conditioning that he made on his Instagram story. And so, for the moment, a hole in his wall and a fan will do the job for the time being. I also completely disagree on his take, T-Dub, of having five street circuits out there. And he said, I want one in New York, I want one in London, I want one in Paris, I want one in Monaco, and I want one revolving. And I say to him, no, that's not how it works. You lose out on great tracks that you're good at, like this one.
100%. I agree with the premises of it, saying we don't want it just to be flooded with street tracks. We have a lot of terrible street tracks. You and I can both name them, I'd imagine. But I can see where he's coming from, but at the end of the day, I agree with you. We don't just want to get rid of some amazing circuits, this being one of them. Saudi Arabia's become very fun recently. Australia, technically a street track as well. We've had some barnstormers in Melbourne over the years.
Spa used to be a street track until
100%.
2007, so you've also got to remember that has history and lineage to it. But for the moment, Gillen and also Lolanoba, your top two, as Tim Marduk, an 8.817, goes third and is only a tenth off of his arch nemesis, Lord Gillen, right now, who seems to be Baron of the Manor as far as it stands at the moment. Super Noodle Bagel, he is both Super Noodle and Bagel at the same time, as Ricky 03 is fifth, and here comes the charge, 14th for Super Noodle Bagel on a 1:10.7. He's about 6/10 off the back of Matt 212 at the moment.
So if we're looking for people that are out of place with just over 5 to go, Razin usually just sets one time at the very end of the session. That's what caught him out last week, to be honest. He got a bit caught up in a bit of traffic, left him down in 11th after back-to-back pole positions to start the season. Average at best racer finds nearly 2/10, but still holding the wooden spoon as things stand on his Creator Series debut. Still yet to see Fabio as well in the Papaya rather than the Scarlet of McLaren over Ferrari. And Tom 97, over half a second down on Lord Gillen's provisional pole time. An interesting one. They're maybe just holding something back, is the former two-time winner of this race.
Well, Tom 97 knows what it takes to get to the top and win a race like this. You know that if you've got the history and the legacy, you just got to keep repeating the process that gets you exactly what's needed. Clearly backing off of it then here and heading back towards pits. And this is what we call the calm before the storm out here, Tom, because everyone wants to be on track when the checkered flag hits 0 and they've got 1 lap left to go. So a lot of drivers take this time with about 5 to 3 minutes to go to say, I don't want to be out there. I'll have one big quick lap to go make it happen. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Matt 212 obviously ignoring that credence and going still on that alternative strategy. 14th currently on that 10.1. Needs a bit more. Well, that's a lot more. That's half a second. Welcome to 11th, which will be 10th when Sanderson's penalty comes in.
100%. But just going back to your point of late runs, everybody's got to be careful. Safso jumps into the 108s, up into P6. This is a short circuit. It's a narrow circuit. If everybody piles out at once, I think we are going to see a few drivers tripping over each other. That final chicane, you don't want to be too close coming out of it to the car in front. There is a bit of a pinch point if people are following too much. We've seen numerous times in the history of the Creator Series, drivers getting it wrong, either missing the final run of the session or being stuck right underneath the car in front of them, which just completely ruins your final attempt.
I can tell how angry you are with that, Tom. That desk slam told me everything I needed to know. But at least at this point, as this now sets, 3 minutes, 20 seconds left. Now here goes Razin Chai. Now this is interesting, Razin going out with 3 minutes to go here, Tom, because he could choose to go out with just 2 minutes to go and give himself 1 lap. He's giving himself buffer room where if the first lap doesn't work, he can bail.
He's got a fail-safe, which is nice. Maybe lacking a little bit of confidence after last week. Remember, started the season so strongly. Pole in Saudi Arabia, pole in Spa after not getting a single pole position in season 11. Kicked things off nicely, then bumping back down to earth, losing the championship lead, having a stinker in P14, qualified only 11th. This just gives him that fail-safe option if things go right. Because let's be honest, he's been so quick this season. He should be right up there as a championship contender.
Yeah, he should be up there challenging. He has been challenging. You don't win the season opener at Jeddah Corniche by getting it sorted there and do nothing. Can anything stop Razin this season, apart from his own wheelbase again? So we'll see whether he's going to be able to make it happen. Now working through turn 1, that small flick right. Nesena S turns 2 and 3 there. The traffic on the exit, giving him the space. Don't want to hold him up. And another one slowing to a complete stop to get out of the way. Working through turns 4 and 5. Down the hill. So easy to clip the wall on the outside if you're not concentrating. Now, as you head through turn 6 into turn 7 and 8, and you are working hard through this section. It's long, these corners, and it's only designed to work with the island, but these corners really hurt to try and put the power down. You've got to wait an eternity. Now working through the third chicane, the toughest of the lot.
You're asking a lot of the rear tyres, you're asking a lot of the front tyres. You're really on the nose going through the 8-9 chicane. How are we looking? 3 seconds up on his personal best through the first couple of sectors. Not setting purple times, but was very close. Just missed it by 0.04 of a second in the first sector and missed it by 1/10 in the middle sector.
Yep, so he's down a bit. He needs a lot more to try and get himself exactly what he wants, and he'll know that he's pushed to a level that gives him a buffer that gets him up there, and he just glances the wall of champions coming out of the final section. Is that a pre-omen to what he gets?
Wow.
Oh my goodness, what a lap, 108.4. You thought that he was going to just sit back and be idle with it. He's blitzed these times, and he sets the gauntlet down to everybody else, to Lord Gillen, to Lolanoba, to Tiamat Marduk, to say, what can I do out there? You take a look at Tiamat Marduk. He's trying to back this off and get himself into a one final run scenario.
Well, that final sector, we thought it might have been a bit messy as he grazed the wall of champions 0.2 quicker than anybody else. That maybe tells us a little bit about the battery saving and potentially the wing levels that Razin is running as well.
Yeah, it says a lot. He doesn't know if it will be pole. He will now just have to wait and see, because he won't get another chance to get back around and make it happen. There's only a handful of cars there. Average at best won't go out there and make something happen. We're still waiting for the likes of Infratic. That invalidates from Tiamat Marduk. He's done as far as qualifying goes there through that chicane. There is Infratic in the McLaren trying to work hard then out of turn 7 and over to the next chicane out there. He knows how tough this run is going to be, and he needs at least a 108.9 to feel anything sort of confident. Currently, you've got drivers between 2nd and 7th, split by just 0.2. Checkered flag out. Tom 97 goes 2nd on a 108.5. Good lap time by Tom. It's not enough, but he'll need to look behind and see who does what. Grid jokes coming to the line. Just about jumps Ricky 03, who's going to be stuck 10th at best as it goes. Super Noodle Bagel down to the pits. Here comes Alex Gillen to the line. It's pole. 3,000. Says he steals it at the moment. But what about Lolly? They say it's his game. Tiamat Marduk can't find an improvement. Lolanoba only a 0.6. Stays in 4th place out there at the moment. Concept 7, his lap is done and invalidated, and almost corrupt a lap there in front. Adam Sanderson with the 5-place grid penalty will come to the line. He won't improve it either. It's just Matt 212 and Ryan L83 left to the line. Matt goes 12th, and Ryan L83 will make that charge in the Alpine, teammate to Alex Gillen, and now over the line it will be. It's good enough for 9th. Oh my, 0.003 of a second. Gillen has sniped a pole.
First time he's been on pole here, and like you say, 3 milliseconds, just stealing it with a buzzer beater from Razin. But pay attention at the back as well. Cream 70, 5 podiums in his last 7 starts, 3 wins in it, but he didn't get the lap in at the end. He will go from 19th alongside his teammate Scotty Designs.
That's a real shock there to say. You got to go all the way back and do all of that work, but it is as fast and frenetic as you've got there with Gillen, with Razin Chai there in 2nd, Tom 97 3rd, and then your championship leader Lolanoba having to start from the 2nd row. Let's go and hand it all down to, of course, in towards the clipbook corner with, of course, Josh Richards, and of course, over with Jessica Ball.
What a qualifying session. Less than a 10th separating the top 3 and 3,000 separating the top 2. Before we look at the clip, in particular the 5-place grid penalty, let's reflect on it. That was a really close qualifying, wasn't it, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, we saw that lap coming in from Razin. I think it was about 2 or 3 tenths clear when he set that lap, and in the end, coming down to such a small margin, it's of course going to be a bit frustrating for Razin, but ultimately, around a track which is pretty sure 108, it's kind of expected to see such small margins.
Yeah, it was very, very close indeed. But shall we have a quick look at the 5-place grid penalty clip that you found? Because Adam wasn't very impressed with that.
No, and unfortunately for Adam, it was quite a small incident that picked this grid penalty up. He's coming out of the pits here, a lot of traffic around him, and as Sasso just comes over to take the racing line, it's that small glancing blow there. That was what picked up the grid penalty for him, which is really unfortunate. It was barely even contact at all, but ultimately, that is why Adam is going to be starting down 5 places low, which I think puts him down in about 18th.
Yeah, not good at all. And usually he's in the midfield for most of the races, so ideally he would want to be higher. And most people might blame it as Adam's fault, as Jake said. Hashtag blame Devon there. There we go. But let's look at a few surprises then. Tiamat Marduk was going to set a final lap. Unfortunately, he invalidated. Canada is quite an important part of qualifying. Do you think Ben would have been up there if he didn't invalidate his final run?
Yeah, I mean, with how close it was, it's hard to tell exactly where he would have placed. Maybe could have picked up a position or two. I don't think the lap would have been good enough to pick up pole position in the end. But yeah, it's something you kind of come to expect at a track like this. You're naturally going to see a lot of invalidations and unfortunately catching some of the drivers out.
Yeah, and with Razin Chai, he was one of the only drivers to go out with 3 minutes to go, had some clear air. People let drivers through, and he set a good lap. Maybe if he went a bit later, he would have got a better lap, but he just wanted to avoid the traffic, and that's exactly what he done. But that final set to Josh, I think that's what lost him that time for pole position. If he didn't lose it in that final sector, he would have got pole, and that would have made his decision of going out earlier even more better.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely point to a couple tiny mistakes. That small tap of the wall, probably grubbing a tiny bit of speed off, that could have cost him. But I think there was probably a few other places like the hairpin, who was a little bit slow through there. But yeah, I think ultimately still coming away second best, only 3 thousandths off. Still quite a good result for Razin.
Yeah, still a really good result. He can still get the win here. He can get the toe into turn number 1 as well. And strategy, I think, is going to be very important for the drivers tonight. Could we see a 2-stop potentially? Because Canada undercut quite powerful. You're going to gain so much time if you go on fresher tyres. Or will we see, like in previous races, some people go for the cheeky 1-stop? I know a few drivers at the front will probably try and go for the 1-stop.
I would definitely say we're going to be leaning towards more pit stops, simply because the pit lane is so short around here. It's a high-speed pit lane. It's not the 60 kilometers an hour, and you cut off all of turn 1 and most of turn 2, so you save a lot of time compared to a lot of other tracks. So it tends to lean more towards the 2-stop, or maybe even a 3-stop. I'm not exactly sure how high the wear is around here.
And we can see quite a few safety cars as well, so that makes a 2-stop even more likely. And the rears can really overheat and give a lot more wear, which may cause some drivers just to lose it before the end of their stint. I wonder what setup some of the drivers will have. We'll find out in just a moment. Let's bring back the 4 of us again to get our final predictions for the race and to reflect on qualifying. Starting with you, Jake. Who was your biggest surprise going to the end of qualifying, and who do you think you'll pick a winner?
Well, qualifying is always a case of who's got the outright 1-lap pace, and 1-lap pace doesn't mean you can replicate that for 70. So I look around, I see Tom97 jumping in, and that Haas team really needed a very good reserve to go and pick up some points for them, and this is exactly what you wanted. Yorit will be very happy, and he'll be tooting his flute very happily on the result that he has seen out of his substitute here today. In terms of how this race is going to play out, I would now sit down and look at this result and go, who is going to come up with the best strategy to give themselves that result? I look at Razin Chai. He had a really good qualifying. I think he's going to sit down and try and convert.
We are about to go to the formation lap, so Tom, I'll come to you very quickly. Biggest good surprise of quali, and who'd you pick a winner?
Winner, I'm going to back Alex Gillen. No, I'm not. I'm going to stick to my guns. Tom97 is going to win this one. Ryan 83 though, got under the radar, got himself into P9 on the grid. Very, very solid stuff. And Fabio, he might only be 10th, but it's the first time he's going to start inside the top 10 this season. So well done to himself. His race pace is strong, giving himself a better opportunity.
I agree there with your good surprises there. Who's going to win the race? We'll find out. We will join back to our commentating team for the race and tell you about the new rule for the formation lap due to some shenanigans last week. It is Tom Wilkinson and Jake Sperry. Jake, over to you.
Thank you. It is going to... Oi! Just as we see that on the formation lap, a massive hit going on down, and that will reset Tim at Marduk then to the grid as it goes. Tom, most of these drivers will be looking to not pick up any form of damage. If they do, they're going to be at a lot of risk from this game being slightly difficult around this circuit.
100%. The damage that Alex and Ben picked up on the opening lap last week probably cost them a chance to win the race. Let's be honest, they both had really, really strong pace, but were handicapped in the early stages, put them on the back foot. Interesting when we look at the strategy, a lot of drivers in the top 5 favouring the softs, the exception being Lolly on the mediums. The soft tyres are worse than the mediums after only a couple of laps, so they're trying to get the rubbish tyre out of the way. We're expecting it to be a predominant 2-stop race. They're giving themselves flexibility when we come into the latter stages because we are expecting safety cars.
We are. It is one of the higher probabilities. Go and find it. Average at best, then waiting to hit his mark. And he's got a bit too deep. Looks to go around and find his stall, and that's going to scrub his tyres and make life difficult. And he's made his way forward and getting himself ready. Let's, though, get ourselves set. It's going to be 2 lights, 5 lights, and we are ready and underway. A little bit of a glitch with the lights, but it's going to be a great start as we go through. Gilligan's back with his gong as we get ourselves underway. As now, here we go, into the centre chicane. Gillen with a good start. Tom 97 still going to have to scrap with Lolanova to get on at the launch and run along towards turns 3 and 4 and down the inside. Lolinova gets to 3rd and immediately looks to settle down for rhythm.
Tukey facing the wrong way towards the back, and Kareem got out like an absolute rocket ship, by the way, from 18th up to 14th already. Fabio losing places too as Tom 97 and Tim at Marduk really getting entangled through the second sector.
Yeah, so that's not what they wanted off of the start of this race. Seeing Tukey pointing around, wrong direction, 6 seconds off the back of the group. Razin Chai will be very, very happy in 2nd position. A nice clean start, able to just sit down, build some momentum and get it sorted. Ricky 03 has dropped back a little bit off of this start. Grid Jokes has had a really good launch, then up into the top 10 off of the start of this race. Karim 70 all the way down in 13th. That is the last place he wants to be in the Aston Martin.
Made up decent ground though. He's got past some of the stragglers he needed to on that opening lap. He's going to have to deal with Ricky and Infratic going tete-a-tete into the final chicane. Fabio backs out of it, but a bit of a tail snap there for the Ferrari coming out of the final corner will present an opportunity for 2 Mercedes engine cars. The first being the McLaren. The Aston Martin just waking in the wings, but you can see there, Fabio, big damage there, missing his entire right-hand end plate as Ricky just getting caught up over the curb on the inside of 2.
Oh, I think he'll be looking around saying, is there a Dunkin' Donuts here in Montreal I can go to soon? So he's going to be looking around thinking, well, I've got to manage the damage. If it gets too bad, I might have to get the doughies back out. But Karim 70 happy, and there's the lunge down the inside behind. Adam Sanderson making progress, immediately jumping Matt 2-1-2 there. That one for 14th place and still looking to charge. Remember, top 15 scores points. Outside of that, you're going to be really struggling for anything. So bottom 5, you know you're walking away with 2 hours of toil and sweat and no points to go with it. So get up there near the front and start scoring.
Now, some of those drivers towards the back will be concerned if Fabio can't cling onto the coattails of the top 10 with that little bit of front wing damage he's dealing with. Pulling out to the middle of the road goes Razin Chai, and the former championship leader passes the pole sitter for the first time. The lead changes hands at the end of 2, and getting a little bit out of shape there through the final chicane, just following in the wake of the Season 5 champion. I don't think Lolly's particularly interested, though. You can see they're getting out of the turbulent air on the run into turn 1. Doesn't fancy it down the inside of the Alpine.
One of my first Creator Series races was looking at the F2 Championship and what Lolinova was doing in that one. He was running away and making it absolutely his. Go and work with a look at Kareem 70, who is really trying to hunt down any places he can. He's now up to 11th, but critically he has lost the DRS. He's 1.4 seconds off of the back of Grid Joke, so now he needs to lock in, chat, and get himself his drive back up.
He's also having a few braking issues as well, so just bear that one in mind as this race goes on. That could deteriorate as things progress. I don't think it'll be alarm bells ringing just yet. He's one of the fastest drivers out there. If he can try and get the consistency flowing, there will be some battles and some tussles in front. Should get him back into the window. As Matt 2-1-2 all over the place out of the 8-9 chicane. And Lonanoba having a dalliance with Tim Malik as well.
Yeah, Ben wants to find his way through. You can see the sparks flashing, and he's just got an angle here towards that chicane. Lolanoba's surely going to have to yield. Out there on the outside, it's not a too-wide chicane. It's not a too-wide chicane. What a pass by Lolly to hold station.
Had to get his elbows out. Ben, you know he'll pick the pocket of you if you just present the smallest of opportunities. Now has to think about the Haas car behind. Tom 97 was nearly a second off the back of them as they were dicing down the back straight, but cruising back up to the white ball in front of him. With that, Gavin still very much in the ballpark. That lead DRS train from first down to 10th, still very much intact. Then you've got Cream 70 out of position after qualifying. Ricky 03, you have to say, out of position as well, down in 12th.
Yeah, Ricky 03 is a little bit out of placement, but it's going to have to work hard to make it happen. But it's not necessarily the baddest place in the world to be so far down the order right now for Lolinova, because remember, the double stack is something that if you've got a really quick teammate, that's not what the doctor will order. So you've got to try and find a way to keep yourself in range without really affecting your strategy too much. So Ricky's going to have to work really hard. He's already dropped 1.7 seconds to carry him 70. And so it's a case of the haves and the have-nots at the moment in the start of this race. You've got the group of 11 at the front fighting for the lead, and then the group which is 12th back to 18th, and Lolinova 26.5% of the time he is on the podium in F1 Creator Series. That's 1 in every 4, and at the moment he is above average this season at 66%.
Doing a very, very good job. This is his 50th start as well in the F1 Creator Series. Obviously has a few F2 appearances and a brilliant F2 championship to his name as well. And he's in a rich vein of form. Only finished outside the top 5 once in his last 8 starts as Lolanoba. Really presents himself as an early championship challenger. As you can see, Scotty Designs, by the way, there, chipping off a part of his front wing, and another driver struggling with a boatload of understeer.
Yeah, and you're going to find that you need that downforce on the fronts to really work. Ryan L83 wiggling, coming out then of turn 8, 7, and now looking to 8 and 9 here. This next chicane underneath the bridge, which is the entrance to the island, and then through that chicane. Can't find a way through. That brings Karim 70 then into play in this battle for the top 10, as they will work down to Lepangle here. This tough hairpin, and Ryan gets a lockup of the rears and has to really scrap. Look how loose Ryan's setup is. He's built the car for low downforce, and so can't get any grip down in this one at this stage. So he's really struggling, and look at him, he's weaving about. First he's going to defend 3 wide contact. There goes the front wing on grid jokes there. He loses an end plate, and there you can see the Nottingham Forest fan there having a little bit of a miffed expression.
Well, writing checks that his rear tyres can't catch at the moment. No grip at all. I'm not sure if he saw Kareem there on the left-hand side of the straight. He was trying to pile past the pair of them. Bit of a jink over, bit of a bump and run. Luckily, all 3 of them managing to keep it pointing vaguely enough in the right direction. Kareem able to get through. Season 9 champ. This one will be a little bit tougher. 2 of the slower drives in that lead DRS train. He's got past, but he's now 2.5 seconds off the back of the Season 1 champ.
Yeah, he's got that move done, though, through that scenario, and that is critical off of the start of this race. So that puts into perspective just how important a starting run like this is going to be. And Fratic then in 14th right now. He's made good progress, but he's not fully as far forward as we expect him to be at this moment. He's been very good at picking up the points, but he's picked up less and less points so far, T-Dub, since the start at Jeddah Corniche. 14 points in the opener, then 12, then 10. So consistent, yes, good. Scoring big points? No, not quite.
It's symbolic of his qualifying getting worse. He's going to get lapped up there by Matt 2-on-2, pushes him down now to the fringes of the point-paying positions. Started 11th in Saudi, 12th in Spa, 16th last week in Hungary. It means that if you look at his qualifying position versus his race position, he makes up on average 7 positions per race. The problem is he started higher up today, but he's picked up that crucial damage early on, and now he's going in the opposite direction to the way he normally ends up.
Yeah, backwards instead of forwards, and I think that is playing a very important part. Lolinoba very happily sat then in that third position. I think if you're inside the top 5, you're doing what you need to. Scotty's already made his first stop, now also becomes the first driver to pick up penalties right now, and for the moment, Scotty Designs is going to be sitting down and going, well, how many can I accrue over the course of a race?
Really interesting. You see there the big bagel on Infratic's stat card moving from Ferrari. So weird still, 4 races in to see him not draped in scarlet, instead repping the papaya and chrome colours of the Woking Base team. Big lock up there on the front right as he wrestles with that car that's really understeering badly. It's a significant amount of front wind damage that he's got. If he can just get dragged along by the group in front, that'll help him. Ryan Lady 3 getting passed by Ricky 03. Through goes Matt 2 on 2 as well on Adam Sanderson. And then it is Infratic in P15, occupying the final spot inside the top 15.
It's a good pass, but Tom, do you think Fabio needs to fill out a bandwagon form?
Potentially. I mean, he said time and time again that this is his game. Yes, he's got a couple of podiums, but he has got the most starts ever in the Creator Series, 124, still yet to stand on the top step.
Yeah, even though Fabio only finished 7th last week, we must remember that this is, quote, his game out there at the moment, and everyone else just lives in it. So he's got a grand plan and strategy to get himself back up the order. He's got 1 point as it currently stands, and lest we forget that there is also 1 point for that guy Vince, who's picked it up for the intermediate fastest lap in qualifying. There is also a point for the fastest lap out there, which is Razin Shai currently on a 1:12.6, and a point for the cleanest driver, which is awarded at the end of the race.
100%. So much on offer. That's why you need to be so precise, because at the end of the championship, it could come down to those bonus points that you get. Cream 17, bit of a messy previous lap, lost 0.6 per second to Safso in front of him. Ricky 03 started on the hard tyres, just started to sing a pretty nice tune at this stage as he gets the energy and the temperature into them, appearing inside the top 10 for the first time. As Lonanova gets past Gillen, big kerfuffle going on in turns 1 and 2, still side by side. Former Ferrari driver versus the Italian stallion. Does Gillen? No, he doesn't. Thought he might have kept his nose in it. Down the inside into 3, but driving with his head rather than just his right foot.
Yeah, he's done a brilliant job getting by as Ryan L83 has come in to the pits by the looks of things and is making his first stop. So critical pass there, had to go the long way around of 2 and 3 into 4, and so that was well sorted in terms of that move to go and make it work. So Lolinoba now given free rein to attack Razin Chai as Concept 7, who is in 8th place, will be eyeing up Safsho for an opportunity to go and get by. They now work at this stage in a lovely bit of placement here. Safsho just now broken away is that guy Vince. So for the first time, he'll be vulnerable along the Droit du Casino or Casino Straight as it's anglicised at the moment. Lap 9, those on soft tyres, they're probably looking at about lap 15, would you say?
Well, Tim and Malik's been talking about lap 12
Tom
potentially.
now.
Tom 97 earlier than that, so he's the first to bite the bullet and jump into the pits. Be interesting to see how strong the undercut is. You'd imagine Lonanova will be fairly intent on trying to get into the lead of this race. He's got significantly better tyres at this stage, medium compared to soft. Doesn't want to waste them stuck behind Razin Chai.
Hard tyres on. Adam Sanderson also going to be coming down into the pits and getting service sorted here on lap 10 of 70, and immediately those first strategy calls are starting to put themselves into play. And critically, he'll be out just behind teammate Super Noodle Bagel. He'll have work to do. Now, this has forced those drivers who have got a gap, like that guy Vince, for example. He's really got to motor to get back within a second. If you lose DRS because the car in front of you pitted, you might as well pit on the next lap and change your strategy up.
He's done a really good job, though. Ala Safso as well, who's clinging onto the coattails just about. Did get it below 1 second, now hovering just over it. Could be touch and go to see whether he gets the DRS to the Mercedes in front. Might actually miss it as he gets a bit of a poor run out of the hairpin, but still Lonanova not making any real impression, and we'll see who fancies covering off the punch pulled by Tom 97. The answer is nobody inside the top 5.
Yeah, so this is going to be just give yourself time to breathe out there. And actually, I do want to keep a look on those tyres again, because we know we've got one runner in that group on mediums, and that is Lolanova. And so he's doing a brilliant job on a tyre which is now starting to come into its realm of life at the moment. Chappers then is looking to get to Matt 2 on 2, but he's got to deal with Infratic first, then behind, who is looking to go from 13th into 12th, as we are slightly off kilter and off cycle now, with various drivers making those calls. And Chappers is one of the drivers that I have to give the utmost respect to, T-Dub, in terms of the way that he goes out there and races. Of course, he races with the fact that he is missing a leg out there, and he has to adapt the way that his sim rig works to get himself up to speed. And so you see the way that that community works, and I know many a driver who has a way of it not working for them, and they have to try and find a way to overcome adversity. He's a driver who does a wonderful job. Big slide going through there, and that is going to be Tom 97 through on Chappers. Then he has dispatched the pair.
He's been clinical, and he has to be. He took a second out of the leaders through the middle sector on the last lap alone. Decent chunk through the final sector as well. Just trying to eke out this time as much as possible. Try and give himself a buffer, because those leaders are giving themselves the extra flexibility by staying out that slightly bit longer. The hard tyres also working really nicely as well. Kareem 17, not a big fan of the mediums. He's dropped behind Ricky 03 now. So the Season 9 champion, not quite at the races at this stage. We know he's struggling with some braking issues, but from a pace standpoint, not necessarily in the same lead that he was in Hungary.
Well, you talk about brake issues and how important they are. If you don't have confidence underneath you to slow the car down, you are going to start hitting the brakes earlier just to make sure that you are going to get it slowed. So you are going to lose a lot of time over the course of your running, as Chappers picks up 3 seconds for multiple warnings, and that's the second driver who's there. A broken brake pedal, or so he says. The scary thing will be if he's got a broken brake pedal and he can't do anything about it. The question would be if he switches his brake pedal and maps it to a clutch. That would be scary.
Who will the Skittles be in front of him when it does inevitably go wrong? And like you said there, it is one of his greatest strengths, his ability under braking. That's what almost won him the race last week in Hungary. He was able to be so punchy under braking into turn 1, trying to catch Lolanova by surprise, who's attempting to do the same thing to Razin, but still happy just to retain the status quo in this leading quintet as Concept and Safso just drift further and further away, and Ricky on those hard tyres gets closer and closer.
Let's take our first look over into Clipbook Corner here with Josh, and there's been a lot to try and dissect over the opening 13 laps.
Yeah, we've seen some overtakes happening, and just going to highlight one of these here. Quite an exciting moment. Lap 3 here, Lolly and Ben, too wide through chicane, somehow managed to make it through with minimal contact. Usually a car ends up sideways in a barrier when you make your way through there. But nice respectful driving between these two, willing to slightly go off the track in the case of Lolly through this second part, gets a warning there. But yeah, they both make it through alive, and I think that's the most important thing for each of them.
Yeah, so wonderful work then that has been sorted between them, and you can see how tight the lines are. And look at the push from Alex Gillen. He's going, come on, hurry up. I've got time to be in places to gain, and I want to get up to Rasin Chai. Pole sits down in third. Doesn't want to be sitting back there and waiting. He wants to be jumping up. Average at best racer, also picking up penalties while we were looking at Clipbook Corner. And again, the front 5 deciding they're wanting to go quite long in terms of what their strategy is. So they will look around at Tom 97 with the amount of undercut that there is. T-Dub, he's going to be in the lead by a good few seconds at the moment, as Concept 7 gets out of 7th and into 6th, so not 6th but 7th. He's now going to be there and very happy with what he's doing.
100%. Just trading blows with Safso as they try to keep tabs on that leading quintet, but so difficult for them since they've fallen out of the 1 second window. Tom 97 is about 1.5 seconds a lap faster at this stage than the leaders on his brand new tyres. But the soft tyres, I have to say, holding up better than I think a lot of us would have expected. The rear tyres we know are going to be the limitation. For Tia McMulloch, his highest is around about 40%. The fronts, though, still only in the low 20s. So from a front tyre perspective, still holding on very, very nicely. It's the rears that the drivers have just got to keep babying at this stage to try and extend this stint as much as possible.
Take a look at Safso there, who's sometimes known as PS1 Hagrid, and just looking at the background there, I don't think he's got enough memory in that PS1 T-Dub to render a background.
No, the 180p camera quality we're seeing there from our Season 1 champion. You think all the success he's had in the Credit Series would give him an opportunity to upgrade that. We were trying around the outside with Alex Gillen. Big squeeze applied. Not a lot of space left there. It's his old sparkling partner, Tia McMulloch, bids for the pit lane to try and steal a march on his rivals.
He was a little slow, getting it slowed up. He took a lot of liberty, and now that brings that guy Vince to the outside as a big slide. He tries to get to the inside, just enough room out there, and Gillen holds himself steady on those softs. So attacking is one thing, but you got to remember, if you attack and you don't get the move done in a series like Creator Series, be prepared to be attacked back.
have to keep your wits about you. And Alex Gillen, we know he is one of the shrewdest operators, one of the best when it comes to wheel-to-wheel racing, very intelligent driver, and just keeping himself in that third place, keeping occupants of that final spot on the podium. Tim Mullock has emerged 4.5 seconds off the back of Tom 97, so that is the read for us. That is where the net race leader in the Haas now finds himself compared to the drivers he was racing.
But you've got to remember that Tom has to go a lot longer on that hard compound tyre and really work for it. Lolanoba, wide as you like, through Lepangle and working back up this section to go on forward and charge. Now, this is a lovely place to go and watch Formula racing out there. And often you find that this venue, Canada, brings in and a massive wiggle through the final corners. We take a look at radio here. We still have the tyres to defend from the medium, so that's good. Keep doing that, Gillen. You're defending from that guy, Vince, quite nicely. But attendance-wise, this is one of the great attendance races because you get the Indy 500, and then next week, normally, you have this Canadian Grand Prix. Unfortunately for this year, they're going to compete with the Canadian Grand Prix against the Indy 500.
Disappointing, isn't it? Because it's always one of those venues that has the best atmosphere, isn't it, in Formula One? Such a great crowd, such a great atmosphere. And Gillen there confirming what we've been thinking. Soft tyres holding up a little bit better, or considerably better, we have to say, than we're expecting. Maybe down to the slightly cooler temperatures. You can see the weather set fair, but it's definitely overcast as things stand. Is there rain on the horizon? I don't think there will be, but you can just see maybe some angrier grey clouds in the distance.
I'd say it's partly to mostly cloudy at the moment. Full overcast will give a lot of concern out there. And I wonder whether that is making the decisions up for these drivers who are looking around and going, yeah, we can extend the soft so that we can jump onto the medium tyre potentially and try and work and wait for that 20-minute call from their race engineers out there. At the moment, I think they're quite happy with how it's going as Concept 7 and Safsho continue to chop and change, and that one then into fifth for Concept 7. Only 2.5 seconds off of that guy, Vince & Co. And Matt 2-on-2 dispatched off then along the backstretch with DRS. That's what we call a bread and butter overtake there for Ben.
Business-like stuff, and he had to do it because he caught him at a difficult time, lost some time through the middle sector, but managed to gain it all back courtesy of blasting past with the helping hand of DRS and a little bit of battery usage as well. So the gap between himself and Tom 97, a little bit stable at the moment, hovering in that sort of mid 4 second mark, down a couple of tenths from when he came out of the pits as he just tries to get those tyres into the right operating window.
Yeah, that window is going to be critical, and just looking at the weather at the moment that has been given by strategy, it is going to get cloudy, but we're expecting the clouds to part before any rain comes through. So this will be dry all the way through, expected on the weather radar as it goes. Lolinoba looking for that race lead here against Racing Shy, and I think Racing could be very clever here. Go over and force Lolinoba to that right-hand side, and then mess with his brake zone if you want to by going into the pits. That's exactly what Racing Shy does. Veterans move.
Picture but perfect, and putting Lolly slightly out of kilter and maybe leaving him vulnerable. Is Gillen close enough to challenge? I don't think so. Hasn't really got the run because the Ferrari's also got the DRS. So Lolly now assumes the race lead, although you feel like maybe could he have tried that maybe even 10 laps ago with the advantage that you would expect him to have with those medium tyres. Tim Mullock bangs in the fastest lap of the race, 9th at the moment. He's taken a full second out of Tom 97 on that lap, with Raz now emerging from the pit lane, a further 3-4 seconds behind the two-time champ. We'll see as he emerges. I think that is Matt 2-on-2 in the distance, 6 seconds off the back of the Australian ace.
Well, it's showing that they're dropping a lot of time at the moment, and so this is the ingraining stage where they will just drop and drop and drop, and they need to find that way to get tyres back. And if they're not careful, a driver like Tom 97 is only about 5 seconds, 5-6 seconds here off of the race lead direct. So could be already a full pit stop ahead in this race if these drivers are just too busy watching each other. And you get tunnel vision around the drivers who you're fighting in and around here, T-Dub. And as you can see here, there goes Alex Gillen, straight by Lolanoba's going to have none of that. Straight through, going to dive for it. A little bit of a miss through the first part and working through the second part without too many worries. Safsho comes in, but you would worry about how long you go, because if you're only focusing on, oh, this is what Lolanoba's doing, this is what Vince is doing, you lose sight of, oh, Tom 97 pitches on lap 6 and he's going to be ahead of everyone by a mile.
100%. It's the case of, do you want to be proactive or do you want to be reactive? And that is the situation that drivers are finding themselves in. We had it in Saudi Arabia at the start of the season when Razin and Lolanova, both on alternate strategies, had to just try and think ahead about what the other driver was doing. Tim and Malik, though, absolutely rapid. He's about 2.5 seconds a lap faster than the leaders at this stage. But Alex Gillen looks really, really comfortable out there. He's been babying those soft compound tyres, and look at the gap. He's managed to drop Lolanova out of his 1 second window. Those medium tyres, maybe not quite as good as we were expecting.
No, and if they've not hit a window and they're in the struggle phase where they're graining a bit because of the colder conditions that have come over, you might want a tyre that's a bit grippier, and that's why the soft tyre could be better when it's gone through that graining stage as it has done right now, and you're looking at it about 50-60% on the tyre wear, and you're starting to think that's good. Now, Lolanova's going to come in off a medium tyre on lap 19. That's going to tell you all you need to know about that tyre does not operate for me. I need to get onto a different tyre, probably a hard tyre to go through, and that's going to be close on the exit. It will get ghosting then as they go through. So that was Concept 7 coming in. I'm sure that's going to be a fine for Lolanova's pit crew there at Ferrari for the unsafe release.
Classic Ferrari, isn't it? In a good position, then you make a bit of a blunder. Where is the Italian stallion? There's the flash of Scarlet, but the Season 5 champion's already gone through. Safso pulled an undercut as well, and Loranova is going to be equidistant between the two Racing Bull cars. 2.7 to Razin in front, 2.5 to Safso behind. But Alex Gillen, like we said, looking so comfortable out there. I think this does confirm we are going to be looking, you'd imagine, at a two-stop race. If those mediums aren't as good as they would be hoping, as Tom 97 almost caught up there by average at best racer as he laps the Sauber going through the 8-9 chicane.
Look, if you are looking around and thinking it's one stop versus two stop, Tom 97 is only 5 seconds back off the one stop of Alex Gillen.
It's such a difficult thing to look at because Gillen's got some really good pace. You would imagine when he does get shot of those tyres, he's going to be catching leaps and bounds those guys that came in earlier. But it's a significant undercut, but it does give the likes of Tom 97 maybe a little bit more flexibility. He's going to blast past Ricky 03 here. He is only 4 seconds now behind the former two-time champ. At some point, Alex Gillen's just going to have to touch base here and say, okay, what is my plan for the rest of this? Am I going to react to the pace? The punch is pulled by Tom, by Tim Mark as well, who's only 2 seconds off the back of the Haas, let's not forget. Or am I going to continue to stick to my guns as off into the wall? Bit of a grace there for Ricky, all out of shape going through turns 3 and 4. Lucky not to pick up any significant damage.
Yeah, he's very fortunate. That could have been a tyre ripped off there, but when you try and make a little bit of contact with the wall, you always say side on is the way you need it. Infratic on his game has got 3 seconds of penalty, and Grid Jokes has got 3 seconds of penalty as well. So he's managed to score that with the stewards out there at the moment who have been looking, how many jokes can a Grid Jokes jokes if a Grid Jokes could joke grids? Well, the answer to that is, well, can he score like Victor Gyökeres? So Grid Gyökeres is not going to score a joke there.
Not very high praise if you're calling him Victor Gyökeres there, although he did score one today. Somehow, sorry, Arsenal fans, he's going to win the lead. But Lodinoba motoring at the moment. Fastest first set by a decent chunk as Dat Gavins is into the pits now off his set of medium. So once again, Gillen continues on. He's run the soft tyres further than anybody else has managed to take the mediums. That must be a telltale sign. And if drivers have used up all of their soft tyres in qualifying, they are significantly on the back foot if we see a late race safety car.
They will be, and so you need that. Oh, Scotty Designs retires the car, and speak of the devil, and it shall appear. Safety car is deployed.
I mean, I apologise to people that didn't want that because that must be exactly my doing. First time we've mentioned the safety car during the race, and bang, with a click of the fingers, there it comes. And Alex Gillen, absolutely loving life there. He can jump into the pits to strap on the hard compound tyres. What do the others do, though? Does Tom 97 come in? Does he think he can take another set of hards to the end of the race? I think you've got to try and stick this one out, in my opinion, if you are Tom 97, Tim and Malik, and to a lesser extent, Raz and Lolly and Sapsa, because they've only just come in. Unfortunate, though, for that guy Vince.
It is very unfortunate out there, and so we will just see what strategy is. Do expect Gillen to come in and make a stop. Tom 97, though, will be the interesting party out of this, whether 12 laps on that hard set is going to be enough. He knows he'll be on a 12-lap deficit, and Gillen is going to lose a fair number of places and won't be the direct threat. I look at Karim 70 as well on those mediums. This falls probably perfectly in the strategy game that's needed. In comes Gillen, outstays Tom 97. So I'm not shocked at that. I expect TMET Marduk to stay out as well, and does so. I'd look down to the likes then of Karim 70 and Ricky 03, and there's no shocks then. This is what we were talking about. Sometimes you do see the bug that comes on into play, and it happens here and it happens at Miami. Gillen now running himself out then off the exit and running forward, and he'll be back out and away. What a cheap stop that is. Fourth, bargain.
That's the plus point of having such a short pit lane, and under safety car conditions as well. He would have only lost, 10 seconds, which means he's going to be ahead of the championship leader, ahead of Safso, obviously ahead of Kareem 70, who can strap on the hard tyres. I think that's a little bit unfortunate for Ricky 03 that he's on those hards. He's hoping that he could have gone 40 plus laps, maybe try and potentially pull off the one stop, because the mediums you'd expect with the lower fuel will be slightly better come the end of the race. But that now leaves him in a sticky situation. He has now to go down the 2-stop race because he's used a second set of hard tyres.
Yes, so that has forced the commitment there from Alex Gillen, who will look around, or maybe Ricky 03, sorry, having to think about the way to go and make it, and Karim 70. Let's take a look down over to Clipbook Corner, where let's see what happened to Ricky here, Josh.
Yeah, well, we are under the safety car at the moment, but it very nearly came about a lap sooner here. Ricky 03 giving us his best 2019 Vettel impressions. He loses control of the car there, just grazes the barrier. Very lucky that tyre didn't come off. But yeah, great car control to manage to recover that one. Very nearly could have been a DNF for the Ferrari driver.
Yeah, it could have been everything that was there. And Josh, very quickly, I'll just come to you with this as we got more takers in. So Tom 97 is going to switch the strategy now. As far as you've been seeing in terms of this race, where do you think the margin has been, seeing these mistakes creep in? It's not been many, but the few that there have been, they have been decisive.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think maybe some of the drivers just struggling a bit to keep the focus. Maybe I think as we head our way through this race as well, once we get towards like lap 50, lap 60, we're going to be seeing more and more mistakes creeping in, and it's really going to spice things up later on, let's say.
Right, let's talk strategy, T-Dub, because Tom 97's come in. He's got a lap on Alex Gillen, but critically, he has lost 5 places of track position by comparison.
Yeah, that's an interesting one from Tom. I would have thought at that point, make your bed, just got a line. He's stayed out, he's gone for that strategy, but he's decided to come in a lap later, which is why he's conceded the trap position. Could have been in P4 if he'd chosen to follow Gillen into the pit. So an interesting roll of the dice there from Tom. He now doesn't have any hard compound tyres left. That's what we need to bear in mind. So he's either going to be going to the end or hoping that we do see another safety car, maybe with about 20 or so laps to go, that he can use the fresh set of medium tyres that he's still got in his arsenal.
Yeah, and so he will look at that and say, well, I'm not likely to see a safety car in the next 10 to 15 laps. I will be looking at where I am at the moment and think, well, if I do need to pit, it's a medium or a soft that's going to get me home, and I'll be on a better race tyre from that point. So a reset to bring the middle of this race together, and a look at drivers who have gained. Ben suffered a devastating injury this morning, which was one requiring a minimum of 70. Oh, wait, Miso bit him. Never mind. Okay, well, that's a shame there for TMET Marduk at the moment, but he leads. And critically, track position while he's gone off the road there, has he? As he looks to go through. That will be average at best, who will be going through and potentially gaining the lap back then. So he'll be allowed to jump on through, gain back onto the leading lap. And so looking at that, lap cars are allowed to overtake the safety car and get themselves back onto the rear of the group. So that will be helpful for average at best. But for the moment, TMET Marduk happy with this, I would say, to be at the front. Razin Chai second. But they know that the amount of grip that they would have lost by burning into it, they would have burnt 15 to 20% of their tyres already. They really need this cooling period to basically give second life to those hard tyres.
100%, but I think Ben, like you said, will be pretty satisfied. Yes, he's got the trap position. He's got Alex Gillen waiting in the wings to try and take it away. And Gillen, so far, has looked very assured with how he's been operating so far in this race. Bagels, by the way, coming in 3 varieties. Normal, seeded, and super noodle. That one currently in position 18. Just behind the 2 McLarens, both of whom have had stinkers, let's be honest. Tukey was backwards on the opening lap. Fabio getting damage on lap 1 as well. I wonder if those 2 were potentially interlinked, because I don't think they were too far away from each other in the opening stanza. We've got Razin Chai in between the 2 sparring partners as well, so he's definitely going to throw something up. I'm interested to see the pace Cream 17 will have on the hard tyres as well, whether that will just bring him back into the fray a little bit more, because he was a little bit off it and a little bit flat in that opening stint. The mediums we know weren't a particularly great race tyre, but still I think expecting a little bit more from him.
Well, I'd say he's doing quite well, actually, to be in 6th position, and he's got tyre strategy ahead of those around. He's similar to Alex Gillen at the moment, and I would say perfect. I'm in a position where I can challenge top 5, top 4, top 3, however it needs to come about. But I do want to talk Ben and Tiamat Marduk at the moment, because he's got a severe infestation of the 4th place at the moment. How does he now break into that podium?
It's tricky. He's had some really good pace. He's been unlucky not to finish on the podium. He missed it by hundredths of a second in the season opener in Saudi Arabia. It was a drag race out of the final corner. There have been limiting factors each week that have kept Tiamat Marduk out of the top 3. If you remember, he's only got 1 win in his last 32 Creator Series starts. For the 2-time champ, that's not a particularly good record, and one that he will be fairly aware of, not necessarily the exact stat, but knowing that he hasn't picked up the wins that he would have liked in recent weeks, in particular on F1 25. I think that will be the extra motivation. He knows the championship's there for the taking. He knows he's got really strong pace. His chat have been bigging him up so far this evening, saying, you've got really, really strong pace. Let's go and win this one.
Safety car now in at the end of this lap. Lap 27 of 70 will leave a handful of laps to go. Now, I don't quite like that there from Tiamat Marduk going through that section to try and slow it down. He will have picked up some marbles on the outside that will take a couple laps to get off of those tyres and get them back into an operating temperature that is where you got the full contact patch available. Tom 97 back there in 8th. I don't believe in this weaving business right now. I will just straight line it all the way there. My tyres are fine. I do not need any temperature to get it sorted, and I do not want to waste anywhere. That will also be there. So Tiamat Marduk just waiting. You'd expect that final chicane to be his go point right now to get up to speed and make that launch. Razin Chai has got to shadow him every stage of the way, and he has done very well to find that sorted. Green flag back out there, and we are back under racing conditions. Alex Gillen was good. Lolinoba might have been slightly better on that launch. A bit of side-by-side back there as Ricky 03 dealing with that guy Vince around the outside, looking to get it sorted on the restart, and this is going to have to be long ways again. He's got it under braking. Brilliant from Vince.
Probably helped by Ricky maybe being a little bit tentative there into turns 3 and 4, remembering what happened 5 or so laps ago, where it was a bit of a Code Brown moment as he took that excursion off into the grass. Gillen was very wide through turn 1, maybe just struggling with his braking. Hasn't quite got up to speed on this opening lap since the safety cars come in, and very much under the microscope with the championship leader all over the back of him.
Concept 7, 3-second penalty. Super Noodle Bagel serving up a bagel of the 3-second penalty variety out there. And now the lunge is going to come down at Lapangle, the hairpin, and trying to get back up onto the pace. They don't have DRS until the next lap after a safety car has come in. So they will get it from this next lap onwards. And remember, it's 1 marker for 2 DRS zones, which makes it double DRS along this section. Not quite there to make that move from that guy Vince. Tom 97 holds his ground.
Wasn't expecting that though, thought it would be the other way round. Tom 97 trying to move forward and make up places as quickly as he possibly can, but under pressure there from Vince, who's managed to shake off that assault from Ricky on the opening lap. A green flag running to now try and move forward, thinking about outside of the halo rather than looking through his mirrors.
No, and they're looking around, trying to do everything they can. You can see the battery harvesting through that section. You don't need to deploy it all the time on attack. You need to manage that kinetic energy that goes around in this machinery. It will give you so much ability to go out and say, look, I can use it all on the straight, but you need braking energy to harvest that battery. It's sort of an advanced plus of the old curse system.
100%. It is a very tactical thing, isn't it? We've seen drivers in the early stages as well. They were very happy just to sit in formation, watch and wait, keep the battery so that you can use it as almost a fail-safe, like we spoke about in qualifying, giving yourself an extra lap at the end of the session. If you do make a mistake, you've got the battery there to use just to try and recover the time that you've lost.
Absolutely. Lolinoba fans are out there in their droves over on Twitch. On YouTube, we're a little bit more civilized at the moment, but we've got some brilliant racing out there, and the battle will, in fact, be legendary here from all creators at this point. Razin Chai, though, to your lead, past Tiamat Marduk on lap 29. It is Boy Wonder who leads.
Easy as you like, wasn't it, with helping Anna DRS? Ben, not interested in fighting it. We'll see if he holds the same white flag up to Lord Gillen, as the former two-time champ cruises up to the back of one of the other two-time champions, with Safso doing a very decent job as well, I have to say. Season 1 champion in position number 5. 5 former champions inside the top 6. The only one that isn't the champion, Lonanoba, the championship leader.
Well, that gives you a sense of where you are and the field of legends that you find yourself around. 5 champions and 1 driver who is due to be champion if it were to end like this, the season here today. So huge in terms of the reality. There is Infratic down in 16th. There is Lonanoba eyeing up Alex Gillen, who at the moment you can accuse him of trying to be a tyre whisperer. At the moment, the passion of Scuderia Red from Lonanoba. He'll be looking at trying to jump up through this right now as if he's trying to get to Drake May or Sam Darnold on what is a Super Bowl Sunday coming up tomorrow. 3 seconds for Karim.
Big one, that. One of the main perennial contenders to try and finish on the top step of the podium. Yes, he's got a bit of work to do, but that is a big 3-second handicap that he's going to have to deal with. Remember back to the last time we ran here with an Aston Martin out in front. That was GB68 who crossed the line first, but had a 3-second penalty that bumped him out of the podium places. Those penalties, if you just keep racking them up, they're going to be so debilitating as the race goes on.
T-Dub, 9 different drivers had penalty.
A lot. That is a lot. And we know that the track limits around this circuit are particularly harsh, especially on this game, but it's also a testament as to how precise you have to be, how accurate you have to be, surgical-like, through some of the chicanes in particular, because they are so cruel with the white lines.
They are. You have to drive in the margin, and Tukey is the one who's struggling the most. He's on 6 seconds worth of penalty at the moment. It would put him 18th. Out there with only average at best racer, the one to worry about. There's the scrap between Chappers and Adam Sanderson, who has been just stuck in the quagmire that he finds himself in at the moment. Now he'll use the DRS, he'll get the clearance, and he needs to jump up. He's followed by Ryan L83. These two have to get to Matt 212 in position 1-2. Karim now, fastest lap bonus point in his back pocket. That's something to write home about. A Pyrrhic victory.
3-second penalty, clearly not holding him back. And there is the double-edged sword. When you get a penalty, there is the possibility that drives in front will also pick up the penalties as well. So you just got to stay headstrong, know that there's a potential, because of how harsh it is, that you won't be the only person in the boat called HMS careful with the track limits. You can see Infratic trying to tackle Chappers around the outside of turn 2. Couldn't quite get the overlap with that Papaya and Chrome McLaren car. So still languishing down in 16th is Fabio. Not quite performing as well as he did last time we were here in Canada. Had a really strong race, qualified 4th, let's not forget as well. So it's a circuit that when everything is going right for him, he can be very quick.
You might also need the SAS strategy, which is speed and safety out there in this circuit, as Tom97 just watching carefully at the moment. I wonder whether he's just trying to manage tyres, as almost everyone is on a set of hards at this moment in time, heading towards halfway. This might have just changed from alternate strategies, how do you want to do it, to everyone now just looking at front left, front right, rear left, rear right, and going, don't push it too hard. Matt 212 comfortably through there on grid jokes and getting that pass up now to 11th.
Tom97 with the fastest lap of the race there, as he does continue just to peruse up to the back of Concept 7, who, like Karim, has got that 3-second penalty looming over his head. Couple of stabs there for Adam Sanderson, trying to get the car rotated into turn number 1, another place on the circuit where if you're just not quite as precise as you need to be, you can pick up that penalty and the warning. But look at Karim 17, still all over the back of Safso, Season 1 champion, very much under the cosh at the moment.
He is under pressure, but you got to remember, even if he does lose that place, he's still ahead on the timer, then ahead of Karim 70. So that's what he's trying to navigate through at this moment. We are heading over towards halfway. This is going to be a critical phase of the race where it's not the driver who's the quickest that I think is going to get away right now and win this one. It's the driver who manages their tyres, and it's tougher when you're back in the group 4-5 back. The amount of lateral load that goes through the tyres stuck in dirty air can really make you scrub.
And adding on top of that, you have to work the tyres harder to overtake the cars that are between yourself and the race leader. So you don't want to leave it too late. For somebody like Tom97, somebody like Karim 17, a little bit harder for him with the 3-second penalty. But you can't leave yourself with too much to do going into the latter stages. Is this the move down the inside of 1? Shows the nose, cranks on the steering lock, little bit of contact front right to the side pod, but just out of kilter, offline there, Karim through 2, and keeps Safso and P5 for the time being. Don't think we think about it into 3, and we do not. That would be unwise, I think, is the best way to put it.
But he will look at that and he will go, I should not have done that. I should not have done that move and tried to attempt it. We're almost at halfway. Let's get ourselves a little bit of an update of what's gone on in the opening half of the race with Jessica Ball.
Thank you. And what some great action we've had at the moment. Cream 17 making his way through the field, by the way. But Razin Chai has shown he's had a formidable force in this race, up 1 place and has been at the front for most of the entirety of the race. But the drivers who have been challenging him pretty much changed. Team McMurdoch, biggest gainer out of the ones in the top 4, up 3 places. He has definitely redeemed himself after the invalidation in qualifying, but Alex Gillen definitely wants to make a mark and try and chase him down as well. Most of the drivers are on the hard compounded tyres. Lonnie Noble, after starting on pole, is in 4th position as Team McMurdoch has left the session there. I was going to do a bit of a recap, but there seems to be quite a lot of things going on right now, so I'll hand it back to you to debrief on what just happened with Ben almost making contact with Alex Gillen.
Well, this is the issue now as Tiamat Marduk is out. He's jumped back in. It's cost him time. Now, remember, he's got to wait for a time to get the car to go back working again. He's in 4th. It looks like he's okay for the moment. He'll probably pick it back up on the exit of this, get the 0, get that launch and say, right, I need to get back in because that has cost him from a position of 2 spaces and bring a huge amount of trouble into play. He'll now have to fight with Karam 70 and Tom 97. That is actually the gift that has given Razin Chai, Lord Gillen, Lolanoba everything they want. There's the look down the inside. Karim looking for a way around Tom. Tom going around Tiamat Marduk. Oh, fantastic.
Still not sure if Ben's back in the session because they lost 2 seconds to the leading trio who have been enabled the opportunity to scamper off into the distance. Still no DRS for the white ball. Cream 17 so close, but Tom 97, that was opportunistic as ever, wasn't it? Right on the button, sensed the opportunity, down it around the outside of Cream, saw that Ben was still slow and could just pick the pocket of the white ball, get a couple of places there for not much effort.
Yeah, not much at all to deal with, and then you look behind at Concept 7 at Ricky 03. They're all there and suddenly realising, right, we've got a shot to jump in with this moment right now, but any gap that you give in a field like this, you need DRS. It is an aid that keeps you with the groups in front, and again, another 3 seconds for Infratic.
Still under pressure as well. There's Adam Sanderson all over the back of him. And Fabio, both McLarens now with 6 seconds worth of penalties. And just having not quite the day that they would have been hoping for, is it? The 2 Papaya boys, they'll be thinking, let's try and get to Silverstone as quickly as we possibly can.
Yeah, that is round 5, and we'll mark halfway. And here's the critical thing you've got to remember as well about Silverstone. Sprint and feature.
100%. So many opportunities, more points on the table as well. So opportunities for some of the stragglers to maybe just pull a punch because we come to the midway point of the season. Somebody to try and grab this championship by the scruff of the neck. Tom 97 still 1.7 seconds off the back of the leading trio. That gap has eroded ever so slightly. It's Ben's a little bit wide there through the final chicane. But this is just added work that they didn't need. That disconnect for Ben has just left this group from 4th down into 10th. A little bit exposed when it comes to the top 3.
It has, and here's the thing again. Tiamat Marduk right now, best he can hope for at this moment here, T-Dub. He's 4th, his favourite place.
100%. Keep the consistency rolling. 4th is clearly the magic number, not 3 for Ben so far. Interesting one on Tom 97, who at the moment has 3 warnings. Now, one of them might be from a collision. I think he did tap the back of Ben when the Red Bull was still disconnected. But if that is 2 warnings, he is going to be treading on eggshells ever so slightly for the second half of this race.
Yeah, you don't want any mistake because it will bite and it will bite hard. Gap down to 1.2 for Tom 97 compared to Lolanoba. It has just cooled off ever so slightly in these groups. Jess, back to the halftime report.
Thank you. Hopefully I won't get interrupted this time by all the action, but it's great that the Canadian Grand Prix has had all this action so far. But speaking of Tom 97, he has had a really good race as reserve so far, up into 4th place. Definitely making some really great moves so far. And I've just had word as well, Team Amada not happy at the moment with his disconnect. We're going to hope that he can make his way through and bring him back into the race very shortly. Kareem 17, remember, he had an off at the start of the race. That's why he was lower down. But now he's going back up into 6th position in that Aston Martin. He's got good pace around here, but with that penalty, like a few of of our drivers, that's definitely going to hinder him in the comeback to try and get him near where Razinchai and Alex Gillen are as well. Ricky O'Free, definitely one of the biggest surprises to be down in 9th place. I was expecting him to be in the top 5. And if we want to see Ferrari have a shot in winning the Constructors' Championship, Ricky will need to make his way up through the field. And here you go then, in looking at outside the top 10 as well as Concept 7, look at the amount of penalty. Concept 7, he would have probably wanted to be a lot higher, but he's got Ricky O'Free for company as well as that guy Vince, so he can climb his way up through there. Matt 212 probably not had the best of races, but almost in the top 10. Probably the better racer we've seen so far from him. Ryan L83 and Matt 212 has just got past and having a little bit of a squiggle. Ryan L83 there. He would probably be happy with a top 10 at the moment. But again, with those 3-second penalty, going to hinder him. Grid jokes, he probably wanted to be higher. Emphatic as well. He started a little bit lower down. But one driver that's going to hope there's another safety car, Adam Sanderson. He is one of only half the grid to have picked up 0 penalties. And if we get a safety car towards the end of the race, this could be golden and he could get a good finish. As long as he keeps it on the road, he should be absolutely fine. And he's probably going to pray for the safety car gods here. And we're not on US reserve, average at best racer, down in 90th at the moment. Not where he would have wanted to be, but it's his first Crate Series race. So he's definitely learning the ropes, definitely understanding that there are some fast drivers around here. But that's what we get sometimes, wanting to get some experience. And if he's having fun making content for the Creator Series, then what's more to love at the moment? Luckily, he was able to get his lap back during the safety car, but he's 22 seconds down the road. Let's hope he can get some points. Let's manifest some points for average at best racer down in 90 position. 2 Kia Super Noodle Bagel, not where they want to be at the moment, but everyone else looking quite close. My biggest good surprise at the moment, flying under the radar, Safso up in 7th position. He could gain quite a bit from Team McMurdoch. We'll see if Team McMurdoch could regain where he lost after being disconnected. But as of lap 39 out of 70, Alex Gillen leading, increasing the gap to Razinchai and Lonnie Noba. Looks like he's got this one in the bag, but has Razinchai have got something left, something saved with the tyres? Can he do his tyre management skills to do that? But let's finish off the action for the remaining, 30 laps of this race. We'll hand you over back to our commentary team, Tom Wilkinson and Jake Sperry.
Thanks, Jess. And so now, with these runs through, Adam recently acted in a show called Cursed Encounters. Apparently, it wasn't based off the F1 Creator Series, but that's the way it's gone for him today. Down in 15th, a 5-second penalty then for the contact. He's had a massive lockup down then in towards Lepangle, but Alex Gillen 1.2 seconds clear. Tom, I think that as far as that goes, that guy and Safso have a little bit of a change of heart. Safso in for a stop. This will be his last one to get him home. I would look around at this and say Alex Gillen has wanted to push now at this phase of the stint. He's happy with what he saved. Now he wants to build a gap.
Wants to try and stretch his legs out in front. That is very clear. And he's got fresher tyres than everybody except Tom 97. And that's where Tim McMurdoch has been a little bit frustrated. To summarise, he basically feels like he's knee-deep in it at the moment. He's got the oldest tyres out of everybody. He's obviously been hindered by that disconnect. Cream 70 is just struggling a little bit for pace as well compared to the top 4. So Ben, stuck between a rock and a hard place at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him try and roll the dice and jump into the pits for that second stop, maybe slightly earlier than the drivers around, just to try and get himself back on level terms with them.
Yeah, so they now have to sit and say what they can do. Tom 97's caught the back of Lolinova now, and that is going to put the reserve in a really fun position to start going out there and attacking in this one. Karim 70, almost 2 seconds off the back now of Tom 97, and he has really got to motor at this phase of the race. Safsho going in this early should be another indicator right now, Tom, that it's undercut central, it's going to work. And look who's first to react to it. It's Lolinoba. He'll come in for his stop. I expect medium tyres on for this 2-stop strategy to get him home and hose. Ryan L83, another 3.
Actually, hard tyres going on for
Wow.
Safso and Lolinoba. So this is just proving that They really don't fancy these mediums. Yes, they've chosen the harder allocation to give themselves the double up on the hard compound tyres. But for the drives that did start on mediums, that's it. They can't use them at the end of the race. It's either a brand new set of softs, or a new set of softs, I should say, or the 2 sets of medium tyres. I have to say, I think Safso's been pretty smart here. He wasn't that far away from the leaders. If he can just try and work away at this undercut, just erode the gap with the tyre advantage that he's now got, could get himself into a decent little bit of track position.
The issue he's got, he's about 5 seconds back of Lolanoba, so he'll have a lot more to try and uncover and uncork at this stage. Tom97 not perturbed by the fact that Lolanoba's just pitted. He's got Razin Chai just in front, and then Alex Gillen to try and deal with at this point. So this is where you start dealing through, and this is the one thing you do if you undercut. You got to get through. Big puff of smoke again from Adam Sanderson right now. So much smoke, you could have accused Devon Butler of bringing a new pope over to this section. He's all right, though, at the moment. We're okay, and for the moment, Adam Sanderson is there in 14th, but he is making 50 pence pieces of his tyres.
He'll be happy just to get through that unscathed, to be honest, because he's had a couple of run-ins with the red cars so far this season, notably one with Ricky back in Saudi Arabia as Matt 212 drops down into 10th place behind Ryan L83. Cream 70 and Ben continuing to fall further and further away, 3 seconds off the back of Tom 97 now. So things really just starting to fan out as Tom applies the blowtorch to Razin and Ben does the same to Cream. Razin's got a really interesting record around this circuit. Never qualified outside of the top 5, but he's only finished inside the top 5 once, and that was a 5th place back in Season 7.
And that shows you that, yeah, you can be great on 1 lap pace, but you've got to commit to the entire run, and maybe a bit of ill fortune has hurt Razin Chai around this place. It's a bit of a bogey track, so is this going to buck the trend here today with the way that Razin is running that Racing Bull out there at the moment, all pretty in pink? Lolanoba through on grid jokes, comfortable pass there on the Kick Sauber, which will be for the 2026 DLC out there, a run to an Audi. Here comes the chance for Tom 97. Pretty easy there. Razin Chai basically lifted off and said, no, go, you have it. I'm not racing you in that strategy.
I think realises that Tom is his chance to maybe get back in touch with Gil and Ad in front. Tom with pretty much the same age tyres. There's 1 lap difference between them. He has been in the dirty air, though, for the majority of the stint, so that probably just erodes the advantage of the lap that Tom 97 would have had. And he can now see what he can do in clean air. And Razin hoping that he can be dragged up towards the 2-time champ. 4.5 seconds back down the road. That is Tim Malik and Kareem 70, who, if they are going to get themselves onto the podium, are going to have to try something different, you would imagine.
Well, fastest lap has now gone the way of Lolanoba, who's up to 11th. He's just dived down the inside there over at turns 6 and 7 there to get the pass done on Infratic. So a very nice pass to go and get it sorted, but he's now got to get through the train here of Matt 212 and Ryan L83, who are 9th and 10th at the moment in this run before he can then reach his teammate. Here goes another one straight down the inside, and that's a little bit wide in front from Ryan L83, but easy as you have it. Matt 212 didn't really fight that one too hard, and I think a case of Lolly understanding that, look, it's Forza Lolly mode time. He's just got to go and get moved. Look at that. That's 3 in the space of 2/3 of a lap. He is motoring, and Matt 212 now is going to tangle, and it's going to be Ryan L83 who loses out.
Yeah, bumpy ride for the Alpine over the sausage curb. Still not done, though, because Infratic all over the back of Matt into turn 1. But I think the McLaren just having to cool that assault as Matt held the inside line there and holds Fabio at bay. Lolly, he's got to be clinical here. He knows he's got an opportunity to become the net race leader, steal a march on Gil and Tom 97 and Razin Chai, and give himself an opportunity to win going into the latter stages of this race. Needs to keep it pedal to the metal. Bolt out fast as he possibly can, give himself as big a buffer as he possibly can as Tom continually closes down on Alex Gillen, half a second quicker on the previous lap.
Yeah, so Infratic sits down and says, okay, I'm 11th. I can move up into the top 10. I just need to find a way to get there. And here's actually something that you got to know at this moment. Lolanoba has been a hot knife through butter through all of this. Look at Safso by comparison then, as average at best just stays out of the way. Safso's stuck in 15th. He can't make anything happen. That guy Vince through on Concept 7 then. That's a move up into 6th. But Safso's gone nowhere.
Disappointing. He would have been hoping that undercut could get him into a similar ballpark as Kareem 17 and Tim Mark as Matt's into the pits. Ryan picks up his 4th corner cutting penalty. That's now 12 to his name for the driver currently occupying position number 12. So not a great day for himself. Safso probably a little bit frustrated there, maybe just struggling in the dirty air slightly more than Lolly was as he plundered his way through the traffic. Safso not quite able to pick them off one by one and not really able to catch them up as quickly as possible.
No, he's really finding out that this is a tough run at the moment. You can see he's working hard there. You can see actually how much he was shaking with the force feedback that's going through the steering wheel. Now, Tom 97, you were talking about this, getting to a second. It's 1.1 at the moment, but Rasin Chai, who is hoping to use Tom as the gateway to get up there, he's also at risk of dropping outside a second.
Rasin could be the joker here, though. 5-lap older tyres than Gillen, 6-lap older than Tom 97. He could be the one to pull the undercut card whenever he fancies it, as Tom is fixated on Gillen in front, just trying to get within the 1 second window of the Alpine driver. And Rasin doing a very commendable job, you have to say, keeping tabs, keeping the Haas at arm's length, keeping himself in the ballpark to fight for this race win into the latter stages, because Kareem and Ben aren't able to keep up at the moment. They're about, on average, a quarter of a second a lap slow, and that time just keeps leaking and leaking and dripping away from them.
That guy Vince into pit lane, then making his final stop of the day with 25 laps to go here around the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, named after the 1982 world champion from Ferrari. So a wing change as well for that guy Vince. Now that is going to be critical, that he needed an extra 6 seconds in the lane there, T-Dub, to get that stop done.
And he's gone on to the medium tyres. 24-ish laps on a set of medium tyres. That doesn't look particularly welcome as he's now behind his teammate Matt 212 on the less optimal compound, because the hard tyres have looked really, really strong. So Vince just on the back foot going into the final stages. We're looking at a solid top 10. That might be a bit of a tall order as Lolinoba continuing to soldier through. Is that a double into the hairpin? Well, he definitely disposes of his teammate. Look at the grip and the traction difference between himself and the Williams. Drives past him like he's not even there.
Yeah, that was close between them, though. Lolinoba is not doing anything by halves. He's doing them by holes. He's through on Riccio 3. He's through on Concept 7. In goes the likes of Tiamat Marduk and Concept 7 for their stops, but they know they've got to take a whole stint out of Lolinoba between now and the end of this race, and that's the give-off and the trade-off that they will have to deal with at this stage. Lolinoba looks absolutely on rails at this phase of the race, and critically, if anyone pits in behind him, you can dangle Riccio 3 out there and go make everyone's life a nuisance. Be my bodyguard.
100%. Could have a lovely bright red rear gunner here. 14 seconds off the lead, Lolinoba. About 1.2 seconds a lap faster than Gillen, Tom 97 and Razin Chai. So looking very, very handy here. Obviously, it will be roles reversed. When those leaders come into the pits, if they come into the pits at all, they might be trying to extend it to the end of the race. Tom 97 in particular, using both of his sets of hard compound tyres. It will be that trio that will be quicker, and it'll be the hunter now becomes the hunted in the closing stages.
Make that 15 Ryan L83 seconds worth of penalty for him out there. Is he going for a record? What's the record in Creator Series for most penalties?
I remember back in F2, it was up at sort of 45, but you do get disqualified, and I can't remember what the number is. It might actually be 60 seconds worth of penalties as Tim Malik gets past Ryan L83. Got Safso 2 seconds up the road, so the two former teammates have swapped places. Safso has successfully undercut Ben, but again, Safso catching cars at the wrong point, really. Can't get past the Sauber and the McLaren of Infrati. It's basically a barricade in front. Does manage to get himself through. It has to be the outside of turn 2. Should have the traction, the grip advantage to barrel around the outside as Lolly's got a penalty. That could be critical. Safso's through, but maybe just pushing a bit too hard there, the Italian stallion.
3 seconds, and it means now that we're down to only, 6 drivers out there who haven't picked up a penalty. That guy Vince is one of them. Tiamat Marduk, Riccio 3, Razin Chai, Tom 97, and Alex Gillen, or Lord Gillen, as he likes to be called at the moment. The Lord of the Manor, currently 1.1 seconds clear. Safso really having to fight here with Infratic, and this is not what he wants, to have to do this much work at the moment with Tiamat Marduk bearing down his fangs, and it's going to be a case of Noah's Ark sim racing straight down the inside, too wide, too deep at Lapangle, and now Ben's going to get a chance as he will be pretty much El Matador with the horns, driving angry. It's 3 wide, and he will burn the battery down to next to nothing to try and get this pass done on Safsho. Karim 70 in the pits, Tiamat Marduk absolutely trawling through this field.
Easy as you like that. Gets past 3 of his former teammates, of course, in the Creator Series. Back up into 6th place now. 11 seconds off the back of Lolinoba. Call that 8 seconds with the 3-second penalty that Lolly's got. And that does change the game ever so slightly for the leading trio. They can now maybe just be a little bit more flexible. They can take these tyres a little bit further. Take some pain now because they know they've got an extra 3 seconds in hand over the Italian Stallion.
They have seconds in hand, but they now have to use that gap. Here, they've got to use that ability to claw it back. And this is what happens when you pit and you fall down the order. You've got to use the tyre life that you've got available to gather yourself into play. Gillen sitting back here in the lead, and he's realising that gap is starting to open up, and he's going to be looking around. He's picking up warnings here as Razin Chai pulls the pin and dives for pits. This should be for a medium.
Thought we might see this from Razin, the first of the leaders to jump in. Gillen did indeed pick up his first warning of the race on that previous lap. It is the white striped hard tyres again going on. They don't fancy these mediums, do they? The hard tyres, definitely the superior compound. And where are we in relation to Tiamat Marduk? I think Raz is going to be spat out of the pits just ahead of the former 2-time champ. So the undercut's got Ben back a little bit closer to Razin, but still nowhere near the DRS zone.
Look, you can get close to Razin Chai, but remember, Razin's going to have tyres up to temperature and finding moments as average at best. Gets 3 seconds worth of time penalty again out there as we get radio from Tiamat Marduk. We should be able to beat Lolly today. Well, at this stage, you're looking back. You got 9-10 seconds to chase down Lolinoba, so make it 7 with the 3-second penalty. That's going to be what you're aiming for to beat the championship leader. I'd say good on you. Try and get that sorted. So at the moment, I would turn around to Tiamat Marduk and go, how optimistic do you think he is? Because I think that's a bit glass half full to me.
I would probably agree. He needs to get his toe down because he's got to deal with Karim 70 as well, who's just gone fastest in the middle sector. On the previous lap, Ben was quicker than Lolly, but only by 4 milliseconds, so it's not necessarily a substantial enough margin. Yes, he's got the 3 seconds, so like you said, it's going to be about 8 seconds, the delta that Tiamat Marduk needs to make up. That is a long old slog with only 19 laps to go.
Adam Sanderson loses the place then to that guy Vince, as Razin Chai will feel very happy at the moment that he is now hunting. Karim, though, gets the fastest lap bonus point in the back pocket and is doing a very nice job of things at the moment here to say, look, I can get there side by side. Razin Chai trying to work away around Ricky 03. He'll get the drive off the exit there of turn 5. Absolutely wonderful stuff there. Ricky had nothing for it. He did his job the best he could, but Razin, absolutely beautifully done.
Didn't make it easy, but that was on the button, wasn't it, from Razin? Had to be clinical, was clinical. Made slightly heavy weather of it because of the part of the circuit that he had to get through. Couldn't do it with the helping hand of DRS to make his life just that little bit easier. Ricky doing a decent job there just to try and hold Razin back. And now we have a clear gap between the Ferrari and the RB. 8.2 seconds, 5.2 seconds with the penalty. Razin's going to be charging, you'd imagine.
Well, yes, because we are running out of laps. I'd love to tell you how many laps we've got to go, but at the moment, it's the
Lap
EA Sports
52 we're on.
Yes, it is the EA Sports Creator Series at the moment. But yeah, lap 52. It's about to be lap 53 for your leaders at this point. But Ricky 03 is staring down the barrel right now of seeing Tiamat Marduk and then Safsho and then Karim all try and get through. And Karim is the hot knife right now. 111.2. Well, sometimes you have to sit down and say, well, get into that zone. You're going to have to set quali lap after quali lap. He has just dealt Safsho a very important blow with that pass as Ryan L83 scraps further back here with Chappers.
Karim seemingly unleashed now on this second set of the hard compound tyres. Haven't seen this pace so far from the Season 9 champ this evening, but if there's ever a time to bring it out, at least bring it out before we get to lap number 70 to give yourself a chance, even with the 3-second penalty that he's got.
Yeah, and Chappers may be the most dapper driver out there at the moment, but he'll say, hey, how are you? I need to go and get my place. That's the key. Timothée Marduk now needs the chance to get by Ricky 03 there in 5th at the moment, and he'll look to try and do it the sure-fired and easy way as far as this pass goes, which is get in the toe, get some slipstream, and now look to just open up the tanks and go and get by. Comfortable there to put Ben back into 5th position, followed immediately there by Razin, who jumps on through the chicane and says, look, Timothée Marduk, you're my tow rope. Now lead me to safety.
Yeah, Creamy had to swoop through there as well. He might not have had an opportunity to stick with Ben if he did wait maybe just half a lap longer to get past Ricky 03, who you'd imagine will still be playing team games for Lolanoba, but with most of the main rivals to the Italian Stallion now through, going to be a little bit harder, you would have to say. Razin picked up a warning on the previous lap. That's his 2nd of the race, so he's going to be treading on eggshells ever so slightly. Timothée Marduk, fastest first sector of the race for himself as well. 0.6 of a second quicker than Lolly on the previous lap. Needs a little bit more, but that is the kind of pace that is going to get him up towards the Italian Stallion.
Well, Lolanoba needs to be gaining 3.5 of a second to the leaders. It's pretty stagnant at 7.3 behind here. So Razin Chai has to go 0.3 quicker than that. There's a yellow flag out there in Sector 1, and I think that might have been for the McLaren of Tukey there, who was a little bit slow through that section. We've got eyes on average at best, who I think was slowing down to let lap traffic go through, which is going to be very tough for him. But right now, oh, Razin, 3 seconds.
That's 2 warnings in 2 laps. Not good news. We know it can snowball around a circuit like this, just taking too many liberties as Timothée Marduk punches in the fastest lap of the race to some tune. 11 flat. That is a 1.5 seconds quicker than Lolanoba on the previous lap.
Ricky 03 can't go any longer. He's going to dive down in for his last stop, but it's looking good at the moment. We're getting word as Ryan gets up to 18 seconds worth of penalty. It's looking good on tyre wear right now, who are very happy, and that's speeding for Chappers. He'll pick up 10, and Concept 7 with another 3 out there. Suddenly, the final 15 laps of the race, they are going to feel so torturous and laborious, because this is one of the most highest intensity circuits that you'll run over the course of this season, with how much you have to concentrate in the first 2 sectors.
Are we looking at a 1-stop here for Alex Gillen? 2
Yes.
seconds now, the gap between himself and Tom. 16 to go. He is over 2 seconds a lap slower than the charging 2 stoppers at the moment, if you exclude Tom, who obviously made that cheap stop under the safety car, I should say. But this could get really, really close come the end of the race. He should manage to get there. It's whether he'll be caught in time.
Well, the question will be as well if those tyres cliff, and if they cliff for Alex Gillen compared to Lolanoba and Razin Chai, it's not just that they've got to catch and put 3 seconds into Gillen. So this is getting more and more in favour of the man who says that this is his circuit out there on this game. Karim 70 then, who sits down, and after lap 68 there are no intentional DNFs there left to play. So you can go out there, you can intentionally, sorry, it's lap 58 you're looking at there, so they've only got 3 laps. They want to retire that car, average at best, for example. If he feels like he's done, then you'd say you're done.
100%. Could be an interesting dynamic. A lot of strategical decisions that need to be made in the next couple of laps, with the potential of that coming. Gillen, I think, has got Tom 97 covered here. Tom hasn't got any hard tyres left realistically. He's only got mediums to use, which we know have not been favoured by the drivers. Gillen's got so much flexibility if there is a safety car coming late. And he's got really strong pace. He's not just quick, but he's consistent, as there is Tom 97 into the pits. Leaves Gillen out as the Lone Ranger in the lead.
Well, now you wonder, it might be softs to get yourself home. I'm looking around at the tyre. It's yellow, it's mediums, it's slow as a pit stop to get out and going again. So Tom 97 has got to roll the dice. He's got to go on a quicker tyre, and he's got to now run through 6 drivers and Gillen.
Got a motor here. The mediums haven't looked great, and he's got to catch, nearly 20 seconds in 14 laps over Alex Gillen and the group in front of him as well. This could be a fascinating chase to the end. Tom 97 clearly thinking, well, if I just stay here, I'm not going to win this race. I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to chance it here, because that is my best chance of beating Alex Gillen, because so far, the former 2-time champ has been bulletproof out in front.
And you've got to remember, as Tukey picks up another 3 seconds, Tom is in as a reserve. He won't care about championship points. He only cares about going for the win. That's what we call stage hunting.
100%. Looking at the Lolly situation, Razin is looking dire for the Ferrari, 3.3 seconds back. But with the other penalty for Razin, that changes the dynamic as well. And Lolly hasn't picked up any warning since he got the 3-second penalty. So pressure there on Razin to keep his toe down. It's Ben we're looking at as Kareem with helping and a DRS blast past. That gap is about 5 seconds to Lolanoba. Ben's still pretty quick, 1.2 seconds quicker on the previous lap. Should keep taking chunks of time out of the Ferrari, especially if he can get dragged along by this Aston Martin.
He might be able to get there, he might be able to get by, but then you start wondering, Alex Gillen, 7.5 seconds, his margin at the moment. Infratic losing a top 10 then to Matt 2-on-2, who comfortably gets his pass and now starts to think about moving on up the order. Matt 2-on-2, 13th in the championship, which is lucky for some. His best scoring point was last round at the Hungaroring. He got 6 championship points there on that result, so he'll be happy with the way it's going at the moment. Tom 97 only 5.5 seconds back of Timoet Marduk and Karim 70, so keep an eye out on those times, because this is a case of everyone just trying to hunt. Now there's a yellow out there in sector 3 for a slow car, which again should be average at best, just making sure that he's staying out of the way as lap traffic. Tough place to be, a lap down on everybody.
100%. Not ideal news at all, as this battle will rage on as well. Kareem 17, Timoet Marduk, but Razin in front is really, really quick, in particular in that first sector. Ben's going to blast back past as they trade blows and trade places to try and use the DRS to their advantage, get closer to the group in front. If you're looking at Gillen not winning this race, though, 9 seconds the gap between himself and Razin. Add an extra 3 there. It's realistically 12 seconds almost that Gillen's got in hand.
Yeah, so it's a huge margin to play with. 12 seconds, 12 laps, if you want to put it in that perspective. You've just got to make it happen. In fact, let's say it as it is. 17 seconds here to Tom 97. It's 10 to Timoet Marduk and Karim, who are working together to try and hunt down the cars in front. Lolanoba is closing the gap, but I argue not as quickly as he would want to at this moment. He's only got the gap down to 6.2. As it stands, Alex Gillen's cushy at the moment on what has been a very slow start for him this season. Missed the opening 2 rounds. 7 points to play with as Ricciardo 3 dives his way around Infratic's McLaren. I'd turn around and say Gillen is not yet in title form. He's got a lot to hold back, but he'll be looking at a win here and say, that's brilliant. And it's going to be a case of Squirtle is the favourite from Ricciardo 3.
100% there. Just on Gillen, he's had a bit of a messy first sector. Lost half a second to Lolanoba, lost 0.8 of a second to Razin, Ben and Kareem 70. So all's not rosy just yet. Still got to get himself over the line, because he has lost 0.8 of a second again to Lolanoba on the previous lap. He's lost 1.6 seconds to Razin Chai on the previous lap, who's now 1.2 off the back of Lolly. So they could be punching and having it out for second place on the road not too long in the future, with Ben still hovering 2 seconds off the back. Second place, very much possible for Ben to get on the podium the first time this season. Not quite got the pace of the duo in front. Razin does have 3-lap fresher tyres, though.
Yeah, Razin Chai is playing a wonderful card at the moment, and he does now flick inside a second of Lolanoba. So now he will sit and realise, okay, this is the last checkpoint right now, the last gatekeep out there before he becomes, in his pink car, girl boss, trying to chase down Lord Gillen at this moment in time. He knows that he needs this pass, and he knows that Lolanoba's doing a good job of chasing, but he can chase quicker, and he'll want that place, and he won't get it there. Little wiggles from the pair of them, understanding they both know the assignment.
100%. He's got to try and get his skates on. Yellow flag is out again. McLaren points in the
Safety
wrong
car.
direction. Wow.
That's going to be huge, and that is going to be 2 key. I wonder whether it's virtual. It is. It's a virtual safety car, so this will neutralise the field. Perfect for Gillen.
100%. Give himself an extra buffer, because Razin was motoring. That was maybe the chance for him to get past Lolly into turn 1 and cruise off into the distance. If he was to continue at that rate, 1.6 seconds a lap faster, he could have definitely caught and passed Gillen and got the 3 seconds on him. With this half a lap, maybe a full lap that they lose under the VSC, that might just erode that chance for Razin.
That guy Vince is going to take a cheap pit stop then as he goes through, drive-through penalty for Infratic for speeding under VSC. He'll come into the pit and he'll realise that that's just a regular stop. So he'll get his work sorted. Chappers also gets one, and it's back to running then as they go through, and immediately they have done so well on that mark. Lolanoba and Razin Chai, they've got the gap under 4 seconds.
taking 2 seconds out of Gillen in the middle sector. They were on the button there, and suddenly Alex Gillen will find himself under pressure. This is the opportunity for Razin to finally get back ahead of the Italian stallion. DRS is a non-contest. Look at the overspeed he's got. Distant toe perhaps from the Haas in front of him as well. And now the chase is on. 6.6 seconds. That is what Razin needs to make up in the last 10 laps as Cream and Ben continue to work together as well.
It's not just passing that's needed from Razin Chai. It's going to be close. Infratic is out and retired, and that is going to throw a safety car. And critically, that is outside of the window of deliberate safety car. So we'll have to have a look at that. That might be a big penalty for Infratic if he's not careful.
That might spare the blushes again, though, of Alex Gillen. He had it in the palm of his hand, didn't have a very good restart, but now he's going to be leading the way on brand new rubber with 3 drivers lined up behind him that have 3-second penalties.
Yes, so that's critical. He might have been on lap 60, so this throws a spanner in the works. Now, they can all get themselves in right now as he goes through, so it's now on the driver, not on the race leader. For that, another drive-through penalty will come through. That's for Grid Jokes out there at this stage, and he will come down in and take his drive. I don't think he can take his drive-through then by the way that he's going through with it at the moment. So he'll have to do that as he goes around and makes that happen again. But not everyone needs to go down in at the moment and make that call for a set of soft tyres. One car might decide to hold themselves out. Now, you can't serve a drive-through penalty under safety car conditions. That would be too OP and broken. But I'd look around at everyone who's making a stop. Hey, that was close. Gillen very close there to average at best racer. That could have been everything. And Grid Jokes deciding, look, I'm going to retire the car as well. A drive-through for Ryan L83.
Everybody's got to be careful here. This is what we spoke about earlier on, the potential to pick up drive-through penalties under safety car conditions. Kareem 7T has stayed out. Season 9 champion rolling the dice. Tom 97 I thought might stay out and does stay out. Will he be ahead of Alex Gillen? This could be the race here. He will be ahead of Alex Gillen. So Gillen's going to have to get some overtaking on. He's strapped on a set of the medium tyres to go to the end. Raz and Lolly, Ben, Safso unsurprisingly into the pits. Ben going for mediums compared to softs for Razin and Lolinoba. This could get interesting in the latter stages here.
Karim 70 has 3 seconds worth of penalty. Tom 97 has 6 lap older tyres compared to Alex Gillen. Razin Chai and Lolinoba have 3 seconds of penalty but have strapped on softs, which should be in the wheelhouse for the end of this race. There's still a fastest lap bonus point that somebody is going to end up having in their back pocket. And now with the field as strung out as it is at the moment, a real chance to settle this field back. Tiamat Marduk currently with that mark on a 111 flat at the moment. He's got a set of mediums on as well. I think you've got to go. Oh, safety car's in this lap already. That's fast. And that's going to catch everybody out as they try and slow this one back down. So you look around at it as everyone's trying to get back to pace. Lolinoba's 4 seconds adrift at the moment. And suddenly, everyone could go and get themselves back. You can call it cruel. You can call it crass. You can call it what you want. Immediately up to speed is Karim 70. Run, run, run as fast as you can away.
Realise he can steal a march here because a lot of drivers been caught short. Lolinoba's still 5 seconds down the road. So this is played beautifully into the hands of Tom 97 and Alex Gillen, who could be debating an exclusive battle between the pair of them for the race win. Kareem 17 has got a chance maybe if he can break the DRS. Razin right in there as well with his 3-second penalty. But Tiamat Marduk once again falling on the wrong side of luck. He's got past Lolinoba, but he's 5 seconds back.
And those 5 seconds, you're going to have to catch them on track. They won't be happy that they didn't catch the safety car in time. But that's on your dime, not mine, sunshine. Gotta get moving here. Karim, who's trying to get the march, and an extra 3 seconds. He's on hard compound tyres at this moment and trying to get things sorted. So he's hoping that this is going to be a chance to run on through. Tom 97 now, you've got the weight of the world behind you to hold and defend from the likes of Alex Gillen.
Razin all over the back of Gillen. In fact, he's down the inside into the hairpin. I think Gillen might have just tapped the back of the Haas. Will he have the traction out of it to hold firm in third for the time being? The answer is yes. No DRS as yet either. There's going to be old-fashioned slipstream to try and blast past, but he is not close enough. Razin just laying his cards down on the poker table that is the Gilles Villeneuve circuit. Cream 17, though, definitely going to be the joker in the pack with the 3 aces tussling behind.
And here comes one ace, DRS enabled outside for Tom 97, who lunges down for it at 2 and 3. Racing Chai is all over the back of Alex Gillen, trying to get this place. This is must make, and will back out of it here into 4 and 5. So not going to happen at the moment, but a warning shot sent over by Tom.
Oh, look at this. Gillen down the inside, Punchy into turn 6, saw an opportunity to slam it down the inside of Tom 97, picking the pocket of the Haas driver and getting the Alpine back up into the net race lead.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He can try and fight back at the next chicane. Not going to happen. And now you're getting the sense that they're all fighting each other. If they continue that, Karam's going to want to run away. That's the race at this moment in time. Defended on the inside to the outside line. Searching goes Tom 97. He can't hold it. Racing Chai wants a way through. But now that gap is down already to 2.7 seconds for Tiamat Marduk. He is hunting this group down. And now everyone realizes if we fight amongst ourselves, there'll be more to the mix.
Smashed the fastest lap out of the park. Gained 2 seconds on the previous lap, did Ben. So there's an opportunity, if Kareem continues to park the bus, to bring Ben back into play. They've got lap cars in front as well. They're going to have to deal with. That's the McLaren of Tukey. Kareem playing a very interesting game. Tom 97 wide through 2.
And he's got those old tyres, and that's the reason why he's struggling. Inside line and stolen as 3 seconds goes to Matt 212. There are drive-throughs for many drivers still to serve. Racing Chai also needs 3 seconds. There goes Alex Gillen. He loves this move down the inside. It's still going to be 4. Look at the grip. And Kareem's going to try and follow his shadow right now to get this move. This is brilliant at the moment between them. It's now Gillen who leads, but Racing Chai now needs to find the move, and 3.
First time was so nice, had to do it twice, straight out of the Alex Gillen playbook. Punchy down the inside into 6, nipping at the heels of the driver in front and taking 2 places there with 2 beautifully executed moves down into 6.
He's done brilliantly at this moment to give himself that platform, but he's got to try and make this move. And if Alex Gillen is smart about this, he won't fight this too hard. Racing Chai moves to the race lead with the pass, but now he's got the difficult challenge. Can he break away from Alex Gillen? Tukey moves over to one side. 2.5 seconds to find him. 5 laps. Tiamat Marduk's 1.5 away.
5 to go, and if Ben can just get a sniff at potentially winning this race, he is going to be absolutely wringing the neck of that white ball car. Tom still very much all over the back of Kareem as he grapples for grip, but there is a 3-second penalty. He's been on 2 warnings for about 35 laps. Finally falls foul of the track limits for the 3rd time.
Yeah, so with that, it puts Tiamat Marduk at the moment in a net 2nd place at the moment. It's 3 seconds apiece for all of these drivers, and he knows, does Tiamat Marduk, that he's got to try and get past Gillen, at least if he wants a shot of victory, and he is the hot knife that's making the progress. He knows he's got to drive with everything he's got, and there's a throw on Karam from Tom, and that's going to be big as they go side by side. They will drop DRS if they're not careful. They've dropped.
100%, because this is now a fight for position as well. Ben in the thick of the battle as he's got the rear wing flap open behind the pair of them as well. Haas from Aston Martin from White Bull. On and over, not too far in the background either, but with that 3-second penalty, it is now a 2-horse race between Alex Gillen and Tiamat Marduk, but there's 2 cars in between them.
Yes, 7/10 of a second, the margin between them. Tiamat Marduk has got to get through these cars very, very quickly, and he knows that Karam's going to be slow on old hard tyres first and foremost. He's got to find a way through and find a way through quick. He won't get it. Here through 3 and 4, on board we go, trying to work out where the move is going to come from. And at the moment, it doesn't look like anywhere anytime soon. And this is the time drop he doesn't want. Yellow out in sector 2, trying to work through a little wiggle. They're going through the middle, and Racing Chai desperate to break 1 second. He's at 8/10.
And Gillen's picked up another warning as well, so he's on 2 corner cutting warnings, so this could yet change. Also, Ben still with just the ones. He's got a little bit left in his back pocket, but Kareem grappling for grip. He's pushed Ben 2 seconds away from Tom 97 in the middle sector.
Well, if he's 2 seconds back, Ben's in trouble, and he'll know that he's in trouble because he'll only just be able to get by and focus on Tom 97 next. There's the move. It reminds you of Jenson Button late in 2011 when he had that 6-stop strategy right now, and he got the moves done late on Mark Webber and Michael Schumacher before reaching Sebastian Vettel. 10 seconds ignoring blue flags for Tukey. Then that will hurt a bit more, but this is where the chase is. Alex Gillen has got to paint between the lines. Lolly up to a P5.
And Kareem could be tumbling here. Might still finish 7th, but Vince isn't too far away and without a penalty. So you have to commend the roll of the dice for Kareem 17. Season 9 champion is falling through the field. Yellow flag out again. I think it's a Sauber pointing in the wrong direction. That will be average at best Racer, who I think we also saw in the wall going through turn 7 on the previous lap. But Ben, if he's going to win this race, it's 2.7 seconds the gap between himself and Gillen. But Gillen's got effectively a police escort in front, the DRS of Razin.
If he makes a mistake, Razin is in heaven. If he doesn't, Razin is in hell. It is as simple as that. With 2 laps in the air, the crew will be throwing a couple popsicle sticks out of the window to say, look, you got 2 to go. Keep on with it. And Ben is 3 seconds off the back of Tom 97. Disastrous right now. It's all in Alex Gillen's hands. He's just got to keep it on the island. He's only 3.3 back. At the moment, he'll need to get by Razin Chai and Tom 97 to get this sorted. There's the move for Tiamat Marduk up to 3rd, but now he's got to hunt down 2.5 seconds to Alex Gillen in 2 laps. A miracle maker needed.
Still rampaging, though, in that white ball. Like you said, 2.5 seconds the margin. Gillen, though, treading on eggshells, knowing that if he just goes over track limits by a millimetre, he will hand the race win either to Razin or to Tiamat Marduk. Does he want the safety net of still having the DRS to Razin, or does he want the safety net of being in front if he does make that mistake on track limits? So much to balance in the last lap and a half. Ben, I'd be surprised if he's still got the pace, the life left in the tyres, because he's worked them so hard to get into this position.
He has, but you have to feel right now with Alex Gillen here, Tom, that he will be sweating, and he really needed that hole in the back of the wall.
100%. The safety car has helped him out, an absolute treat. He has made a little bit heavy weather of it, leaving himself exposed to a potential 3-second penalty, but he's just got 1 more lap to negotiate. But we know things can tense up on the last lap, especially when you're in this situation. If he wins, it'll be his 30th career win in the Creator Series. That would be a record, and he will get his 1,500th point, the 3rd most of all time.
That's big. Yellow flag in Sector 1 because Ryan L83, his teammate, has just spun himself around. He'll get back up to speed, and you wonder now, with just this final lap left, whether this is going to be big. How much time, by the way, did Tiamat Marduk lose from his disconnect earlier on? It was 2 seconds. How far back is he off of Alex Gillen? He is 2 seconds back of him. He could have won this race. He could have had everything he wanted and then some. But ultimately, right now, half a lap to go on the tightrope. He might want to try and win it on track, but he knows that Razin Chai will fight him for any chance to get that one to work. If Razin was playing cheeky with this, he'd try and hold up Alex Gillen in his final chicane. He's got nothing left to give. He will win this one on circuit, but Alex Gillen right now has got all the margin. He has played this tactically perfectly. You now look at that final chicane. He has only got that right and left to hold himself steady, closing down that gap. 2/10, 1/10. I'll lift off of it. I don't want to go for it. Razin Chai is going to get it on circuit, but Mr. Alex Gillen, the Lord of the Manor, gets his 30th win in Creator Series with truly magnificent driving.
Superb. Definition of spectacular. Personification of perfection as well. Nearly messed it up with the penalties, but that was a sublime drive. Got every single call right. Ben, 2 seconds back. You wonder on a different day, he had the disconnect, he had the safety car issues as well. Could he have been looking at that 2nd win in his last 32 starts? But a first podium of the season for Tiamat Marduk, and I think he will be thoroughly pleased with that, as he did bump Razin down at the end.
A magical race as they head through, just waiting on Adam Sanderson now to get himself over to the line. A race that pretty much the late stages of this one were defined by that late safety car that firstly came in, and secondly was pretty much a case of it came out at the right time and came in at the wrong time for others.
100%. That was quite the Canadian Grand Prix, and after last time when we had a bit of a sticky one with the Rainbow Tyre Challenge, we had no safety cars at all, we had drivers fanned out all over the show. That was a grandstand finish, wasn't it? A chase right to the death. So many variables as well. Any one of the top 3 could have taken it, dependent on what Alex Gillen did. But he stands atop the podium for the 2nd time in Canada, the 1st time this season, and he does slam himself back into the title fight.
He does, after missing the opening 2 rounds. He says, look, don't forget about me. I'll be a challenge in the second half of this season, and I will always make my play known. And as he gets the win over two very, very inspired drivers, this championship has closed itself right back in. But your cleanest driver, Ricky03, will take the extra point. So that won't concern too many drivers out there, but a good cleanest driver result out there. That is huge in terms of a result. Alex Gillen, then from Tiamat Marduk, from Razin Chai, who will be third with Tom97 and Lolanova, following Safsho, Karim70, Dat Guy Vince, Concept7 and Ricky03, Matt212, Adam Sanderson, Ryan L83, Super Noodle Bagel and Chappers with the final points, with the likes then of Tukey and Average at Best, all there putting things sorted. A wonderful run of racing, but let's take it all on over. Back to Jessica Bull and, of course, to Josh Richards, who are there with Creator Clip Corner, and as well, some fallout from a wonderful race.
It was certainly a wonderful race there. Massive shout out to the commentators, Tom and Jake, there for doing a superb job. But Alex Gillen, he won last time out the Canadian Grand Prix last season. He won this season. Is his track. Alex Gillen performed when he needed to, and he would have done the one stop if there was no safety car, but it didn't matter what strategy he did today, he would have won anyway.
Yeah, I mean, especially at certain stages of that race, Alex looking pretty untouchable out there, coming away with the win as well. I think really just showing his pace. I think, in fact, he did actually say the exact words, "This is my track," after crossing the line. But yeah, really great job by him. 4 drivers who didn't pick up penalties in the end: Alex Gillen, Tiamat Marduk, Dat Guy Vince and Ricky03. So really great job to all of them as well for keeping it clean out there with the track limits.
Well, we'll speak to Alex in just a moment, but you have got some clips of the battles that were happening midway through the race, in particular when Kareem17 was leading. Of course, he didn't win the race, but he pulled off some entertaining battles, let's just say. Talk us through it, Josh.
Yeah, so first and foremost, we're here, lap 64. Karim fighting Tom97 out here through turn 1. This was the first move that anybody attempted on him. Tom, unfortunately, not able to get the traction down as they make their way in towards turn 3. Tom backing off, and then, as we make our way towards the next corner, Alex getting opportunistic, burning some battery here as Tom is saving, dives down the inside, just about finds the gap, gets the car stopped, and that's how he gets himself ahead of Tom97. The battle continued on a little bit further, but no more overtaking came from it. And then the other one I have, this was the overtake on Karim as well. This is when he eventually lost the lead. We got Tom and Razin battling behind as well. This opens the door for Razin on the soft compound tires to get into this fight as well, which is what eventually led to him taking the win on the track. And it pretty much exactly the same thing down the inside, heading in towards this corner. And then Razin just able to follow through with Karim going deep. He struggled to get on the power, and that allowed Razin on the softs through and up into P2, which he later then went on to take the lead.
I have to say, it was a really good scrap, actually. We couldn't stop watching it, and I wonder if any of the drivers were feeling very nervous. We got 2 drivers waiting for an interview, but first of all, let's have a quick look at our race winner. Some would say that this was his trap, but we'll get him into the interview room in just a moment. Alex Gillen, this is your trap, my friend. Congratulations, another win in Canada.
Oh, let's go, man. Still won in every single season of Creator Series. That's 12 seasons, 12 wins now. And yeah, Canada definitely seems to be my track, doesn't it? I'm buzzing with that.
Yeah, and your pace for me seemed to be absolutely brilliant that race. That final safety car, of course, we'll talk about your original strategy in just a minute. You on the mediums where most people were on the softs. Was that the strategy that pretty much helped you win in the race, or could you have gone on the softs?
I don't know. I didn't have any fresh softs because I took them in the first stint. So the mediums was the obvious choice. I'm not sure, honestly. Lolly seemed to go very well on the mediums in the first stint. There didn't seem to be that much difference between the medium and soft. So it wasn't too much of a worry for me going for those mediums. And obviously in the end, it was all about just avoiding the penalties and sticking with Razin, who had one. And it went my way today.
Yeah, I mean, the absolutely incredible tyre. You had 35% at one point, and we were thinking, yeah, he was going to one-stop this. Was the plan to always one-stop before the lap 60 safety car came about?
I don't know about always. I don't know. I just got off vibes. I was enjoying doing my ridiculously long stint on the softs in the first stint, so I thought, you know what, I'm enjoying this. Let's just stay out and see what happens. And of course, it's Creator Series. Safety cars are always likely at any given time. So I was like, put myself in the shop window for potential to gain for a safety car. managed to make the softs last very, very nicely, so that obviously helped. And then final stint, we know Creator Series rules, 10 laps on the end, there often is a safety car. I think it got to the point that my tyres were pretty good. I was going for it regardless of whether there was a safety car or not, but I was thinking it's quite likely there's going to be a safety car with 10 laps to go. So let's stay out, let's see what happens. I think they definitely would have caught me without the safety car, but a lot of them had penalties. I've got no idea how that would happen. It would have been very interesting, put it that way, without the safety car. But the safety car in the end, especially with the very weird, very fast restart, made it a lot easier for me, I think.
Yeah, that felt a bit weird there, because we were expecting quite a few other cars to catch up. Did that caught you off guard a little bit there, with it coming earlier than expected, without everybody catching up to the field?
It was definitely unexpected. I saw it early enough, so I knew what was going on. In fact, I did say, Crim needs to go early because these guys are not caught up yet. And then sure enough, he went pretty much straight away. I don't know if he's got my stream on in the background or what, but no. It wouldn't say caught me off guard, but it was strange. It definitely got, unfortunate for a couple of people. Ben in particular, I know he was a few seconds back from the leaders on the restarts. That definitely didn't help him. So, bit of a weird one. I don't think I've ever seen a safety car be that short. I wonder if it was the VSC only one lap before, whether the timer was connected for both or something. I'm not too sure, but anyway, it worked out for me because it meant that the guys behind weren't so close.
But potentially, yeah, that was probably the weirdest things I ever see, but glad that benefited you. And speaking of penalties, you were almost close to getting a 3 second. And when you saw the likes of Razin and Tom 97 picking up penalties, was that the moment you felt, right, I'm going to have this race victory?
Well, you can never think that in Creator Series. You never know what's going to happen next. So, no, absolutely not. But obviously, on the last few laps there, I knew Tom 97 was the main threat, but I also knew I had better tyres than everyone bar Razin. So when Razin was right behind me, I was like, do you know what? He's got his penalty. I can just let him go and just sit behind him. But it was not easy because I had my second warning during that little stint. I was terrified of track limits. I was taking it so easy, losing so much time in the final corner because I was like, I win this race. All I got to do is not get a penalty and push just enough to stick with Razin. But I was absolutely terrified because one very minor mistake and boom, 3 second time penalty, maybe wouldn't have won. Although I did have an opportunity to overtake Razin on the final lap there, but decided to let him and Ben have that little battle they were having for his penalty. They were close to being 3 seconds away or not. So I opted not to there, knowing that the race win was in the bag.
Yeah, congratulations to you. But before we let you go on your merry way, next week, sprint race weekend around Silverstone. How are you going to approach that differently compared to the other races? Are you confident around Silverstone?
Vibes, just pure vibes next week. No, Silverstone this is one of my best tracks. Silverstone is one of my worst. So pace probably won't be quite so good compared to some of those other guys. But honestly, all of our pace is so similar in Creator Series. Me, Tom 97, Razin, Ben, GB when he chooses to race. I'm sure I'm forgetting Vince's pace has come a long way. Lolly's also rapid this season. So many people have just got virtually the same pace that it's just so hard to predict. But yeah, Silverstone, not my best track. I don't know. We'll go off vibes. We'll have some fun with it. I had some fun today. I had great fun last week. So yeah, as long as we enjoy it, nothing else matters.
That is really great to see. We'll let you go and celebrate. Congratulations. Alex Gillen, the King of Canada, has won today. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thanks, Jess. Cheers, guys. Bye.
Right, from one driver who picked up no penalties to another, and we thought that he wasn't going to get a good result after that disconnect, but who would say he did not give up at all, and he went on to get a podium in the Creator Series once again in Canada, in of course Team McMullen. I didn't think you were going to get a good result after that disconnect, but I think you must have been relieved that you were able to get back into this race.
Yeah, it was a very swift DC in the end. I figured out, because of all my DCs last season, I've now spent some R&D time, getting more efficient, and I found a slick way to get back in within like 20 seconds, so I don't lose like 2 or 3 laps this time. But yeah, I was gone half a lap, and I somehow lost like 3 or 4 positions, lost the DRS train, and was 5 seconds off the lead. I was like, what? It was crazy. And I think in my opinion that completely changed the race, because that let Alex go through for P2 very easily. Then he could overtake Razin, and then he ran off into the distance. And I think if I could have contained Alex, and I think I could have, we would have been looking at a very different race for the second half. But all things considered, came back and finished P2. Pretty good race. I can't complain. The lack of penalties did a lot of the work for me.
Yeah, I have to say you kept it clean. How many warnings were you in the end? Were you on the cusp of getting a penalty, or were you just plain sailing from there on then?
I was chilling on one warning. I was very close to getting cleanest driver. I can't even remember. The warning I got was avoidable for sure. I think it was really early on. But then there were like a million warnings that could have been warnings, but somehow weren't warnings. So at the same time, I could have been on 20 seconds of penalties. So yeah, I think I can't complain. I can't complain. You know, it's Canada. It's the worst track on the game for corner cuts. So
it is.
Yeah, just you got to keep yourself out of trouble.
I think you would have got cleanest driver if you got 0 warnings, because Ricky 03 picked up 0 warnings and he got cleanest driver. But there you go. You would have got that extra point there. But at the start of the session, of course, you gained quite a lot of positions with qualifying. You invalidated your run. What was the key to get down the woes of qualifying and just focus on the race? Because that last lap, I was gutted about your invalidation, but you seemed to keep it clean in the race.
I did a lap that was good for pole. I did a 8.3 or something. Yeah, I had a lot of time left in my last chicane, so I gained a ton out of that. So yeah, I was a bit downbeat by that, but again, pretty lucky that like a lot of other people didn't seem to nail qualifying either, and I was P5, so it didn't leave me with a lot of work to do, to be honest, in the race. So it made the job a lot easier in that sense. But you know, coming into today, this is one of my worst tracks on the whole game. I normally always have stinkers here. I nearly got pole. I was in the fight to win the race, and had some bad luck and still finished P2. So all things considered, I think I've had a really good day.
Yeah, you seem to me in that last safety car, the battles you have with the likes of Razin, Alex, Loninobu as well. You're probably glad there was battles happening in front of you, so you just could close in a little bit. Were you just hoping that the gap will just close in even more? Because it got close in the end to whether you were going to get P2 or P3.
Yeah, those guys were fighting so much. I can't wait to see the broadcast back and watch a few different POVs. I think Karim went all in trying to get track position. Tom also stayed out on all the tires. Alex doesn't want to take any risks. He wants to get the win. Didn't have that many warnings. And Razin is Razin. Like, he loves to go for it as well. So, yeah, I was encouraging them to keep on battling. And, yeah, they really helped me close back in at the end. So, yeah, it was a good race. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. And next week, a different format, sprint race weekend around the home of British motorsport, Silverstone. How do you feel about the format next week and the track itself? How do you think you're going to do?
Oh, I love it. I love a sprint race. I tend to do well in them, and I tend to do really well at Silverstone. So bring it on. It should be a really good event.
Brilliant. We'll let you go and debrief. Congratulations, team at Marduk, a P2 around Canada. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Free Meraki.
Brilliant stuff from Mr. Benjamin Daly. And now we head to someone who won on the road, but because of his last-minute penalty, he dropped down into P3, but still a really good result from him to close the gap to Lonnie Noba in the championship. It is, of course, Mr. Razin Chai. So gutted about your penalty at the end, but still a podium that would help close the gap to Lonnie Noba. What were your thoughts going in there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough race, to say the least. I mean, it's not an easy one at Canada. We all know it's track limits galore. Yeah, I tried my best. I think it's unfortunate to get the penalty. I got 2 warnings in 1 lap. It was just a lack of focus that lap, and unfortunately messed it up. But yeah, it would have been interesting about getting for the win at the end if we didn't pick up the penalty. Also, if the safety car never came out at the end there as well, I think there was like 6 drivers in contention for the win, technically, because we're all gaining. But yeah, it would have been really interesting.
Yeah, it would have been as well, and I was really gutted, to be fair. But your qualifying strategy, absolutely loved it, even though it came down to 3,000 in the end. You came out pretty much about a minute or 2 earlier than everybody else. Why was that important for you? Because I know in Hungary you got caught out by going in later, but going in earlier, did that help you a little bit? Do you think if you would have got a bit later, you would have found that 3,000th to get pole?
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing for me was just try save 2 sets of softs for the race. I wanted to start on 1 and save 1 for the end, which was the right decision in the end. So take it risky doing like 1 lap set of tires, but I was confident enough to put the car in top 5, so I was happy with P2. Yeah, we missed out on pole. Could have done a better lap, but it is what it is. It's not the worst thing could end day.
Yeah, you having battles with the likes of Tom 97, Alex Gillen as well. That final safety car was that it was nail biting between you and Alex there. Knowing you got that penalty, what was your approach going into the last few laps? Because you could sort of see that Ben was closing in quite a few other drivers as well. Do you just want it to win on the road at that point?
Yeah, I mean, the main thing was on the restart to get past Tom, get past Karim, get past Alex. Utilize the softs. Stay out the chaos if I was going on front, get past them and build a gap. I knew Alex was going to win that race. As soon as Tom picked up the penalty, it was kind of done. So my main focus then was just to push as much as I can. I know I can't drop Alex. I know Alex can't really help me in that case because I'm pushing it so much, but I needed to drop Ben as much as I could. And we had that 3-second buffer for so long. It's just unfortunate on the last lap it dipped and we lost it by 3 attempts. But did the best I could. So obviously GG's to Alex, GG's to Ben on the podium. Yeah, unfortunate with the penalty on my side, but it is what it is.
And with those safety cars, maybe did that help you a little bit with tyre wear? The first safety car probably helped you a little bit, didn't it?
No, because the first safety car came out after I'd boxed, so I was kind of working a different strategy. I think it probably helped Alex. The second safety car, I think most of the top of us, we technically benefited because it didn't really help anybody else because it went straight in the following lap. I think it probably would have been better without it though at the end, just because there was 5-6 drivers in contention for the win. I was getting Alex by a crazy amount. Lolly was still in the battle. Obviously, I had a penalty, but I thought I could have potentially done something with it against Alex. Tom 97 was the new mediums. Ben was behind, so a lot of drivers were in contention for that win. I think without the safety car, so could have been better endings potentially, but at the same time, hey, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you're closing up to Lolly Noble in the championship. Don't know what that goes in terms of the standings, in terms of the gap, but we will find out, of course, on our socials. Creator Series GG, by the way, on X and Instagram. Britain next week, sprint race weekend. You seem to go well down here. What are your thoughts on the format and the track itself? How do you think you're going to do?
Yeah, I mean, Silverstone should be an interesting one. It's the king of dirt, yeah, it's the king of oval racing, so kind of need to see how we do. I mean, everybody else is quite strong there, so I'm not going to put one down. Obviously, it's in 2 weeks' time, so bit of time off, bit of time to enjoy next week, take it off. Sprint race will be important as well, so yeah, sprint race never go well for me, so let's see.
Yes, of course, that reminds me. Thank you, Rads, and I completely forgot we got a break week next week. I should have checked the calendar a little bit there. Thanks for the reminder there. Of course, it being Valentine's Day, and a lot of people will be busy there. Thank you very much, Rads, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for Silverstone.
Thanks, guys.
And there we go. Then that was our top 3. But now let's hand over to all 4 of us now to wrap up what has been a really, really great race. Starting off, of course, with Jake. Who do you think was your driver of the day today? Who do you think stood out of all the drivers?
I think you have to look at driver of the day, and most people look at it as a way to try and elevate drivers who have done a really good job over the course of the race, moving up the order, gaining the result that they needed, and driving to a level and a standard that everyone else looks at. But sometimes driver of the day does in fact have to be the driver that wins the race overall, and I was mightily impressed by the way that Alex Gillen drove that race. Yes, he had fortune that brought himself into a position that got him all the happiness and the ability that he needed to. So I would sit down and look at that and go, well, look, he drove himself into a position, he drove his race without penalty, he put himself in a place where he managed the race effectively at every phase and had a strategy and plan that executed to perfection. And if that doesn't get you 12 wins out of 12 here in Canada, 30 wins over the course of your career in Creator Series, what does get you driver of the day? Exactly.
And his tyre wear was pretty spot on. And he was probably lucky with that safety car. He got to a mix. He was planning to probably do the 2-stop anyway, but I think he would have done the 1-stop if I was him, if I was to do something differently. But the tyre were absolutely sensational. Tom, hand it over to you with your pick. Would you go with Alex Gillen, or would you go for someone else?
I could be even more boring and say that the driver that finished second should get a mention as well. But I think with the adversity that Ben had to go through in that race, everything went wrong. He had the disconnect. He had the problem with the safety car. He got dropped. He had to do a lot of work by himself. I think there was a period, wasn't there, where he had Kareem as a sort of tow. But outside of that, he was the lone ranger, if you will. So I think you have to commend him for the effort there, especially late on to move up from P6 or P7 to get up into second. I think he did a really strong job. But it's hard to look past Alex Gillen. I described it as bulletproof on the last lap. I think that's the best way to put it. He made no mistakes apart from that one track limit with a couple of laps to go. That was it.
Yeah, that was it, which probably costed him cleanest driver. And our producer saying Bert Mylander, driver of the day. To be fair, there was 2 safety cars, so I got to admit that was an interesting contender there as well. Josh, I'll go to you for your driver of the day and your thoughts also for Silverstone next week. A sprint race weekend. It's going to be different, of course, as well as the short quality 100% race. And of course, we could expect some of the drivers who are mid-pack to try and fend off the quicker drivers. How do you think that's going to go? But first of all, your driver of the day.
Yeah, I will have to agree with Tom here and say Ben, I think, is my driver of the day. Given how far back he was multiple times, he had the disconnect, the safety car restart as well, where he got caught out being like 5 or so seconds behind. To come back and get himself into that fight for the podium, I think, is very impressive. As for Silverstone, I think it's going to be a very interesting one. The wear around Silverstone is quite high, and I think that's going to come into play along with the dirty air. It's going to make the strategy interesting, but it's going to make the driving very tough for the drivers. I think, especially in the sprint race, we might see some drivers having to potentially save a bit of tyres.
Yeah, Silverstone, from experience, because I did a race there on Thursday, absolute nightmare for tyre wear, regardless if it's a 50% race, 100% race. So I think the driver that's going to win the race is the driver that can keep the car smooth and have some tyre wear. But my driver of the day, I've been thinking long and hard about this. I'm also going to have to give it to Tiemann Marlott, because usually if someone disconnects, i.e. me, on Thursday, I probably would have dropped way down and probably would have not been in the best position. Tiemann Marlott, as soon as he realised he disconnected, went on the game straight away, and he only lost like 2 seconds. Would he have fought for the win without a disconnect? Definitely, but he had a lot of fun, and the bad luck that came his way, he didn't give up, and he won. So Tiemann Marlott is my driver of the day, with Alex definitely a close second. So we're about to wrap up. Of course, next week, no race, because it's Valentine's Day, so we can all enjoy a week off from racing. But I'd like to thank everybody for joining us in Creator Series powered by EA Sports. A massive shout out to them. You can check out on our socials, linked are above. Creator Series GG on Instagram, X, YouTube, TikTok, the lot. You can find us everywhere. And in terms of our socials, you can find me at JessGames95 on X, Instagram, TikTok, Switch. I won't name everything else. It's pretty much the same everywhere. We will get the socials from everybody else, starting with you, Jake. Where can we find you?
I can be very inconsistent. You can find me on Instagram at Mr_Sperry. You can find me on X as Jake_Sperry. You can find me pretty much anywhere that you want to, that you can find me. And of course, there's always a race that goes along through. So I will be very much using my Valentine's Day to cover some more amazing racing.
Well, make sure you check those out if you're bored of racing. Check out Jake's commentary. I have to say, he's not going to be quiet at all. Tom Wilkinson, where can we find you?
You can find me on an internet at TW6 or Wilco.coms and Wilco.darts on TikTok and Instagram. And I too will not be going through the traditional pastimes of Valentine's Day. It is motorsport all the way, I think. That's the prerogative for everybody.
I'm the same as well. I don't really celebrate Valentine's Day, so it'll be motorsport through and through for me as well. And finally, Clipbook Corner. Josh, where can we find you?
It's chocolate. Usually, that's probably the best place to find me. And I can agree. Definitely going to be doing some racing probably on Valentine's Day. Who needs to see people anyway?
Yeah, exactly. But that is true. So that's where we can find everyone else on social. And also, we would like to thank TK, the man who has been producing in Gareth Allen's absence this week. So thank you very much to him. He's been controlling what you've been able to see on screen and what we were able to see on screen. So without him, there'll be no stream. So thank you very much, TK. Thank you to all the drivers for racing and to everybody that's been watching at home. But the star of the show tonight was Alex Gillen. Was it ever in doubt? I don't think so. Make sure you join us in 2 weeks' time for a sprint race weekend around the home of British motorsport. It is, of course, Silverstone. I've been Jess Ball. Take care, everyone. We'll see you in just under 2 weeks' time. Bye-bye, everyone.